Hey, do you guys ever think that Tyler kind of gives you like older Matthew Lillard vibes? I'm just
Uh,
looking at it, he's just cheerful, but he's done stuff. I don't know. Just oh, right.
hey, everybody. My name is Tyler Crook. I am the artist of books like Harrow County and B.P.R.D, some Black Hammer books, Colonel Weird, and the Unbelievable Unteens. And I have a new book out called Out of Alcatraz. And you are here to talk to us today on Splash Pages.
So the only thing left to say, of course, is the one obvious thing.
Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You are watching Splash Pages. I'm Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here, and we have an incredible show for you, as always. And, we'll change things up a little bit. Mr. Drew, how's it going?
I know you thought it was going to be Carrie, right? You thought
I know.
that.
It's a good
I
thing
know.
I read.
No, Leo. I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the audience. I was breaking the fourth wall. You ruined it. Hey, everybody. It's Tuesday. You're here, which means that definitely you might not have paid the bill for streaming services, but that's great. So while you're pulling that money together, you're here with us, and we love that. And so thank you. But I'm gonna turn it over to the next person, I know is very excited about our great guest that we have tonight. So in my Leo Palmas, all right, let's see what's going on next. Wait, go. Carrie, how you doing over there?
I am doing great tonight, Drew. Thank you for asking. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's so good to see you guys here. Tom Dog, hello. Mott, hello. I'm so happy to see you here as well. Brad Tosker is we're back from a con that was a little difficult on us. He is drinking his new hazelnut flavored vodka. And I'm going with just some Maker's Mark tonight. But okay, so tonight, our guest this evening started his comic career coming in hot as the illustrator for the historic thriller Petrograd in 2011, which won him the Russ Manning Promising Newcomer Award. He's also received 2 Ghastly Awards as well as a Bram Stoker Award, whilst being nominated for several Eisners. You might also recognize him from his work on The Sixth Gun, B.P.R.D, Hell on Earth, Witchfinder, Black Hammer, and of course the heaviest book I own, Harrow County. Back in 2022, he released The Lonesome Hunters that we're going to be touching on tonight, a series that he was both a writer and the artist for, and its follow-up, The Lonesome Hunters, The Wolf Child. Most recently, he has provided illustrations for Out of Alcatraz, written by Christopher Cantwell. We're going to be touching on that tonight as well. His use of watercolor and gouache, along with his inking, makes his work very, very distinctive with his very emotive characters. And on Friday nights, you can find him over on YouTube hosting his comic book cool down with his wife Mott and sometimes their cat Tibbs hanging out with a really great Friday night family and the live comments that I am so thankful to be a part of. Everyone, the incredibly talented and the extremely kind Mr. Tyler Crook.
Woo!
Tibbs!
That's great.
Hi, everybody.
Yay!
I am
More like-
very glad to be here.
More like Tyler Cat.
Yay! Love to kitty.
I almost cut to when it was the cat butt shot, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Well, that was a very kind intro, Carrie. I'm very happy to be here.
Well, I mean,
happy to be here.
yeah, listen, Carrie, at any point, if you want to just have your one-on-one with Tyler, me and Leo can take like a 20-minute, I don't know, walk around the block, you know, because correct me if I'm wrong, Carrie, but you are essentially a staple of Tyler's, which I hear is very lively, very family-esque, you know, live drawing sessions of you guys talk philosophy and art and spookiness, you know, things that Carrie would enjoy. Am I wrong, Carrie?
It's some of that, and it's also a lot of supportive people. I
Mhm.
wouldn't say that I'm necessarily a staple, but I've become a regular for the past few months, and it's a very nice family to be a part of. There's this just community that you guys have cultivated, and there are artists and writers and just fans and people that, you know, support each other and like, hey, what you been doing? Did you get that done yet? Do you need some help? Do you need, hey, congrats on what you did there. You know, you can get through the next part of it. It'll be okay. And we talk relationships sometimes as we're doing stuff, and we get to watch Tyler do amazing things every episode. And Moth's there a lot and chatting with us, keeping the crowd going with the flow. And it's just a really fun community. So if you guys get a chance, if you need to breathe, feel good, and feel supported on a Friday night ever, go and check out his show on YouTube. It's the Friday Night Comic Cool Down.
I feel like I should, like,
Yeah.
Tyler, I feel like I should be wearing a hat in solidarity because it's just a good look for you, man. Like, I was looking at yours and then you got that. But then the last time we tried coordinating a hat, it did not go so well.
It's my favorite hat, too. It says comic books on it.
Oh,
There you
nice.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, the last time we had you on, it was with your fellow Harrow County co-creator, Cullen Bunn, which was absolutely awesome. And I've been recommending, I have quite a few spooky people who definitely dealt with a couple of haints. So I was like, guys, you really love this book. And a few people have been like, that was a great read. I was like, I know. I interviewed the people who brought it to the world. You know, it's literally a weapon in Carrie's library now. Is that right, Carrie? She carried it to the like, Carrie, you know what? I don't want to tell your story while you're here. So why don't you know, tell how you brought a literary weapon.
Oh, thanks, Dean.
Thank you, dude. But Carrie, tell the story.
No, I have to find these guys. I have to figure out where Tyler and Mott are going to be, because
Con-wise.
I got the con-wise that I can somehow get to, or else I'm just going to be mailing you. Like, here's $50 to mail it back.
Yeah, exactly.
The complete Harrow County that I'm not going to carry out of my bedroom again because I've lifted it so many times over the past couple of weeks. But it's a 10.5-pound book that comes in. It's a hardbound book. It comes in a slipcase. It's all the gorgeous artwork and everything, but it's really heavy. And I carried it to the con in a backpack with a
It's
bunch of my other
over
stuff.
1,000 pages, just for context.
Yeah.
Wow.
And there's like all of the library editions, all of the essays, all of the tales from Harrow County is included in it. Mott's got some stuff in there as well. And so it's just and then they released just recently, I don't know if it's hit the shelves yet or not, but like a softer edition is being
No,
released
yeah,
of it as well that you just did the cover for.
they just announced it, but it won't be out till October. So we
Yeah.
got a while before that one's in stores.
Oh,
But
no,
yeah,
just
Yeah.
stop her, man. She'll still get that version too.
We,
You know,
we were talking about it when it came out on the news, because you just shown the cover, and then we were like, oh yeah, this is coming out. I'm like, but I got the big one. I can stop bullets with this book.
it's true. I've
yeah,
seen
no,
it.
I'm actually pretty confident that will stop most, at least small caliber bullets.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
definitely. Maybe moderate knives. Nothing too crazy. I don't know if it's up a sword.
Well, it's
But-
like this thick, so anything that somebody can legally carry, it will stop knife wise.
Well, well, I would expect nothing more from the good people in Harrow County. But so yeah, that's the last time we had you on, and it was fantastic. So thank you again for coming back. We really appreciate it. Yes, indeed.
Well, before we get into that, so
Thank you.
yeah, Carrie, you were asking about like cons. So Tyler, what cons are you planning to hit this year?
The only one I have a solid plan for is the Boise Library Con. But I don't remember when that is. That's but I'm sure if you Google Boise Library Con, it'll come up the first thing. I want to say it's maybe in August.
Mhm.
Where's that at?
It's in Boise, Idaho.
August 30th and 31st.
There we go. So that's one. Yeah, that's the only solid plan I have right now. Yeah, I'm gonna spend a free comic book day at my local library. And while I won't be like having a table there, I will be available to sign stuff if anyone wants to come to Willamina, Oregon.
I mean, listen, you got to support the library, man. Page masters like yourselves have to support the books. So come on.
He recently did artwork for his local library.
Yeah, I
To,
made a
like,
little.
show
I
up.
turned the building into a little mascot, and actually, I did it on my live stream on Friday, and everyone in the chat recommended we name the character Lil Barry, like library, and it's been a hit. Everyone down at the library loves it and calls him by that name even.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's so cute.
Yeah.
You can order that soon. Those of us, even if we don't live by you, are we going to be able to order stickers and stuff? And
we haven't got the sticker plan yet, but we're starting the plan for tote bags. And I'm not sure how we'll be able to order them online. They might be able to go on as a print on demand sort of a thing, but yeah, I'll have to talk to the rest of the library crew and see what they have to say.
Library crew, nice.
Because I want those for my laptop. I got to decorate with the
whole
library.
Oh yeah, no, and I'm doing Mott's down there like keeping me on my toes. We have Cap City Comic Con in Salem, Oregon on May 31st. Yeah, that's a very local show to me, so that'll be and that's the first of those shows. So it's a new convention. So it'll be fun to see how it goes. I'm excited. It's being set up by some friends of mine, and they're smart and good at organizing stuff. So I think it'll be great.
It's It's always fun to hit a con when it's just starting out, because then you can tell, if it's something that's going to stick around or not based on like the foot traffic. And it's always exciting to see, a new con, get busy right away.
That's
Well,
true.
I don't know. I don't know if you can ever know what a con will become from going to the first ones. Like, because I started going to
Well,
San Diego Comic-Con in '86, I think. And
Jeez.
from that, you would never, ever in a million years know that it would turn into what it has become.
yeah. Well,
It was
at least
possible.
at least that it will be around for at least another year. It's
Yeah.
I feel like I could stand outside of my door and be in line for somebody at San Diego, like even though I'm in Nebraska, just
Oh yeah.
randomly.
Yeah.
hmm
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
And
very accurate.
yeah,
That's the whole H line starts somewhere
Yep. In
by your
Nebraska.
house.
Yep.
yeah, it's insane. I was just at Kansas City, and we're gonna talk about that next week on the show, but I sent these guys like this 17-second video of this huge line of people all going wrapped around, and it was to the pizza vendor.
And
Um, I,
and I was like, this is news to you? Like this is like I've been to New York Comic Con. I saw people that literally went to the con to stand in line, to stand and or sit in line all day, just to go to the Walking Dead panel at the end of the show. And I was like, I was like, congratulations, good for you. My ADD does not allow this.
well,
So
speaking of Walking Dead, longest line I've seen was at a con in Jersey, and we got there. There was a line out into the parking lot,
for
and
who?
well, I'll tell you. But
Okay,
get
I'm
this:
sorry.
Walking Dead is prime at this
Right.
time, going on strong. They're good years. The line went around the facility and then all the way through the parking lot, and is for Norman Reedus. It
Well,
was, yeah, it was absolutely insane. I was talking to somebody there. They said, they've been in line for a couple hours now, and it's only moved a couple feet. It's just
geez.
like,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
just insane. Yeah. But I mean, that was what, like 10 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, but he's still on the show. People would still do that.
Oh,
And that
yeah.
was before
yeah,
that's before a fan bit him in a photo op.
Yeah.
So
He
Ooh.
knows how to work the crowd, though, because, well, you know what, I won't go into it because we're here for Tyler.
that's true. But no, it's
yeah.
fun. It's fun. But you're right,
We'll
Leo.
do that next week.
Yeah,
Next
we'll
week we'll
pivot
just
back.
go all random con stuff.
Yeah,
So
but we'll pivot back. Um, well, guys, if I can, I'd like to start with what one of my memorable reads of Tyler's recently was your work with Jonathan Mayberry in Bad Blood,
Mhm.
which like being a horror movie fan, I very much enjoyed because I was like you and Jonathan just handled such a heavy subject, and I always find it really impressive that in horror there's always a splash of humor. It's like we have
Mhm.
to find something to laugh about in the face of confronting true evil, or
Mhm.
even something like this book, more our own mortality and whatnot. So I just want to know, like, what was like working on this book, which is very in tune with horror, but it's really its own thing. So I mean, we were talking about it before the show, so you might have to repeat a little bit.
Yeah, well, that was like it was a weird project for me. It was sort of I had basically I mean, not in so many words, but I basically wasn't I knew I was not going to make any more B.P.R.D books at that point, and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to work on.
Mhm.
And this Bad Blood project just came up, and I leapt on it. And working with Jonathan Mayberry, he was so generous and like patient with me because I was a little bit of a mess, I think, while I was making that book. But it was like that's the first I actually went and got this is my copy that I turned into I made a hardcover case for it.
Show it
One of
off
a kind.
again. Look at that.
Um, so this was
you
the
can
first
never
oh,
own it.
good again. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah. Show it off, man. Look at that. That's cool. That's
yeah.
fucking dope. Look at that. Wow.
But this was my first. This is the first book that I colored and lettered. So this was the first for both of those, and it was a challenge. Like it was because for one thing, I had never watercolored a book like this. Watercolor for me was always just sort of like what I did in my sketchbooks and stuff.
Hmm.
And they had asked me to color the book too, and I was like, I would love to, but I cannot sit in front of my computer and do that. Like, I just can't sort of emotionally take it. So I pitched them this, and I think I had to do a sample page or two, and they said okay to it. So then I did it, and it was a weird challenge. Like I didn't have a good scanner at the time, so it was like old school where I FedExed the pages to Dark Horse and they scanned them and then sent them back to me to do some like revisions and stuff. And yeah, it was a really good book. I think it wasn't until after I was done that I really started to appreciate like what a great story it was and what it was about, just because I was so like caught up in like doing it as a job that I wasn't like evaluating the story as like deeply as I should have. And it was so yeah, no, it's a book that I'm actually really, really proud of. And it was like a milestone for me as a comic book creator, but like one that I didn't know that the milestone was happening until well after it was done, you know?
Yeah. No, and I had a couple of pages that I just wanted to point out as kind of like my favorite highlights, just to talk to you about. Leo, Carrie, would you mind bringing them up for me?
Keyboard monkey on the job.
Okay. This one killed me because and you can. It's funny. I don't know if Carrie or Leo know this, but I sometimes have a real problem taking photographs because I always think my smile just looks ridiculous. Because either it's I always feel like I show not enough teeth or too much teeth, and so I just playfully smirk or do like goofy faces. So you have this character who's just dealing with some heavy shit, and his friend is trying to cheer him up, and this montage of things was amazing. Absolutely, just especially because no, just it's just so fucking funny. And just you captured like again one image, but it was just so detailed yet very simple, and I was just like, man, that like I just chuckled through just looking at each of this, and I was like, yeah, this is so fucking funny.
That's
So
awesome.
was any of this like you said Jonathan was very giving? Was any of this you, or were these like I was like, oh, he's dead, Max?
No, that was all Jonathan. Like this was like the getting the expressions on the face right is me, but like the holding up the mask, having the arrow through his head, making the zombie face, like that's from the script. Yeah.
And just looking at it now, it's the drinking the poison or the mask, just chugging, just so absentmindedly.
The line of drool is brilliant.
Yeah. And then the next one, which is after he meets, I guess his first friend after his losing his friend. No spoilers, everybody. I mean, it's been out for a while, but I'm not gonna, summarize this thing for you. It's Drew's news, not Drew's reviews. I'm sorry. I think what it was, it's just like this is all that, but it's the panel at the bottom that killed me because it's just, it's what you don't see is great, but the expressions make it, and then the box is this is me hunting vampires.
Yeah.
Like what? I was like, yeah, I don't recall this in Blade. So like I was like, oh my god. But like I said, what makes it for me is the reactions, because we don't need to see what she's doing. You and Jonathan basically implied it, but the reactions are just perfect.
Well, having the bra there too is a pretty heavy clue.
Yes.
Oh, what's going on?
But yeah, I'm sorry. It's just especially because that just killed me. This is
Well,
me.
that's like some nice. I agree with you. Like I haven't looked at this book in forever, and like that's I feel like I agree. That's some nice staging. But that one in particular, I don't know. I couldn't tell you what the script said. I don't recall. Like I
Mhm.
bet a lot of that even is Jonathan's script
Mhm.
describing how that would be set up.
Yeah.
It-
And then, well, the next 2 pages were, as a pop culture fan, I absolutely fucking love. So, Leo, Gary?
Yeah, I'll push over.
yeah.
But Carrie, did you have you were gonna say
Oh,
something?
yeah, no, if you go on the far right for us, the on the bottom panel, there's like the front guys have their things, he in the center is done. And you have these guys kind of leering and some different little faces, but the one guy's just like over on the far end.
Over the
I'm like,
shoulder,
Over
yeah.
the shoulder guys.
Yeah. Oh, hey!
yeah.
Like, you got one over each shoulder, too. Like, oh, and yay! Yeah, it's
Yeah, that guy's feeling pretty lucky. Can't
yeah,
believe
You
he
always
can't
have the
believe he
best
gets to be there.
you have the best expressions. They just absolutely say what's going on. You don't really need that much of a script to go with it. I love it.
yeah. So, but like I said, the next, like, it was like, it was when they're talking and they're just trying to figure out, like, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. Like, geez, this
Hmm.
whole thing. I mean, they both faced vampires. They both lived. They're essentially considered unclean. But for me, it's, he's like, yeah, we have no idea what the fuck we're doing. We're not Buffy and Angel. We need help. But it's her, like, just the fact that she listed the Ghostbusters, the Frog Brothers, and then advertising for vampire hunters on Craigslist. And I'm like, way to carbon date this book. Craigslist. But it like, I've never thought I'd hear Ghostbusters and the Frog Brothers in the same
Yeah.
breath, but I was like, yes. So just genius. Fantastic. And then, of course, what I love is that what you did in the background, you just have this really kind of like Night of the Living Dead, hold up sanctuary kind of feel to it, with the
Hmm.
the with the boards over the windows and just everything looking so desolate.
Yeah, well, that's kind of based off of an apartment that a friend of mine lived in when I was in college,
Oh,
and it was like college. It was like like studio apartments where the bathroom wasn't in the room. It was like down the hall, but it
right.
was not like on campus. It was like privately owned by this slumlord, and it was nasty. And but it was
Jeez.
cheap. It was like $100 a month or something, and
Yeah, that's pretty cheap.
in Berkeley. So like so that was what it was based off of. Obviously the boards on the windows were added for this scene because they're trying to keep the vampires out.
Right.
But yeah.
But and
You do a
then
really good job. Oh, sorry.
no, Carrie, go.
It's not so much in this particular one, but if you look at a lot of different rooms you do for people, um, you're really good, and you do this on the show sometimes. The different punk rock scenes and stuff. A lot of the characters, anyone who's into a punk rock scene or whatever, with the posters that you do, they might not
Mm.
be super detailed, but you have that vibe so down as to how
Well,
like they
thanks.
all looked and stuff. It's like I'm betting that there were quite a few of those posters hanging around in rooms that you might have existed in here and there along the ways.
Yeah, like
So
I don't know if kids are as into it as they were when I was little because nobody gets magazines anymore, but every just about everyone I knew in high school, their walls were just like posters, floor to ceiling, and then often posters all across the ceiling, and it was like magazine cutouts and posters and all kinds of stuff.
I
Yeah,
I had
so
one of
I
those.
definitely have done that a couple times. In fact, like Bad Blood has another, like I think the first panel is like that. Yeah, like um
Yep.
this scene. Will it go?
Yeah.
It won't do it with my face in the thing.
No, we see it.
Oh,
We
there we
see
go.
it.
There we go.
Yeah.
He's got the posters up on the ceiling, all up and down the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Exactly.
I know a lot of people, a lot of cartoonists complain about doing backgrounds, but like I hardly ever like they don't really feel like backgrounds to me. They always, like I always think of them as being the setting, and I always want to make like the time and place of a story feel very very clear and distinct, because I think that's so much of like any story is that it takes place in a very specific time and place. Like almost all of my favorite books. Well, I think the books that I've done that have been like the best, like Petrograd, is
Mm,
in a very specific time and place. Harrow County is a very specific time and place.
right.
Uh, Alcatraz that I'm doing now is in a very specific time and place. It's like, yeah, like the setting is just really, really important to getting people immersed in the story.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. And like, I
Mhm.
don't know, do you want to go back to the one where they're talking in the room?
Yeah.
Like I love stuff like you look at the dresser in that first panel, like it's missing a knob and it's got a little bit of underwear sticking out, and I love that stuff. I love that kind of little tiny detail.
Yeah. No.
I
Like I
didn't
have
It's
a
even notice
very
that you
hard
had the
time
chair prop.
drawing like a doorway without putting a ding on the door frame where I'm like, this is where the couch came in and it went bonk, and they're like, oh dang it.
well, but like you said, like it adds a little extra splash of realism, and it just makes it
Mhm.
more tangible. Because, like you said, that's what makes it real for you, and we wouldn't know this, but now that you pointed out, it's like, oh, okay, now we see it, and like, wow, it's
Mhm.
like it's like when someone tells you where an Easter egg is versus if you find it yourself. But in your
Yeah,
case, you're
yeah.
telling it because you put it there in the first place, so we appreciate it more.
Well, and it's also for me, it's not stuff that you're supposed to be like when you're reading it, you're not supposed to be like, oh, look, that knob is falling off the dresser. It's just supposed to like, a bunch of small details that will sort of add up over time to
Right.
create a world that where people live and where things existed before the story started and will exist after the story's done.
Yeah, absolutely. But then,
Set
and
that
then,
tone.
yes. So piggybacking off of this one, then when the other panel is, they actually put it on Craigslist, and I was just dying because they're like, anyone responded? I said, oh yeah, we got loads of replies. So far, 600 from Buffy or members of her Scooby Gang, almost as many
Mhm.
from one of Van Helsing's descendants, a bunch each from uh, Kulhak, Angel.
Wait. Whole half?
Cold
Well,
chat.
Kolchak.
Guys, I can't see
Jeez,
it as clear. I can't
How
see
do
it
you
as
This is
not
why
know the
we write
nice stuff?
notes.
Kolchak. I'm sorry, I couldn't see the C. Like you've never mispronounced something. Fuck you. And then of
Point.
course Hellboy. Most interesting was vampire porn from Missy Chocula with pictures. I was like, I'm done. The internet is a foul, stupid place, which is shown by the next panel. So this was really the stupidest idea ever. No, maybe not. But the fact that there was even a reference to Hellboy, I was done. Considering as a one, because you've worked on Hellboy related books, and two,
Mhm,
I
mhm.
being a huge Hellboy fan, I know stories where Hellboy's dealt with vampires, and I was like, oh god. But Buffy, Scooby Gang, I was like, I'm done. Like the internet, I was like, this would happen on the internet. But I was just like, you two just killing it. Even at the bottom when she's just slumped over, visibly annoyed, like, was this really dumb? And you're like, no,
Mhm.
no, it might have been somebody.
I like the transition in the color scheme too, from like at home posting the thing to then being in this like really warm colored coffee house where they're like at home, like, oh, we can do this. And it's these cool colors, like, okay, we're gonna sink in. And then, yeah,
And
so
then
that
black
didn't
and
work.
white when we go to the
Yeah.
I've forgotten that guy character's name, but when he's like reading it on Craigslist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the next one, I will also say kind of blew me away because, you know,
Blew him away too.
pun intended. Like we've seen, you know, people, you know, vampires getting staked before. They fade into dust, they explode, you know, whatever. But I mean, the fact, like you and Jonathan made it that you stake a vampire and they'll dissolve into rats
Yeah.
or bugs. I was like, what? Like, because I'm thinking Gary Oldman in Dracula, you know, turning into the swarm of rats. I just go, oh, fuck. You know, I don't even care about rats that way, but that was still like, oh, that's gross. But just the image alone, and then you have, you know, the red shading and whatnot. It is just fucking immaculate. So I mean,
Thanks. Yeah, just looking at the image that you put up there, when it looks like one, because that's from reading it digitally, right?
mhm.
Yeah, it turned a little more magenta. Like my version's a little more. Well, no, it looks about the exact same on the screen, huh? Doesn't it?
Yep. 1 second. Yep. Keep talking.
That's a little less magenta, a little less pink, but interesting.
I did
Yeah.
notice that. I watch you too much, so I notice all these little tidbits in your art that are like, oh, I'm gonna do this because of this. And it's like, and then why was there the magenta there? But it does set it apart a little bit. And I like the way you did that because there's just so much red and there are only so many shades of red you can do without having something to make it pop off
Yeah.
that still works, you know? Like you could have gone with the oranges, but then everything's so warm in there. This gave it like a cooler feel in that panel a bit.
Yeah, it
As far
differentiates
as
it so much more from the rest of
Well,
the.
you know,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry, my phone was dying, so I was like, I need to plug it in. But you know, actually, I have a question for one of us, Leo. You're not the greatest horror person, you know, and yet me and Carrie kind of unconsciously torture you by having you read things that are a little gory and violent and
And
whatnot.
horrible.
So, you know, I mean, nothing's ever going to beat Next Wave. But Leo, what did you think about all this? What were your thoughts, buddy?
I couldn't find this book, so
Oh my
what
God.
was
I'm
yeah.
sorry to put you on the spot, bud. You got it, but come on.
Okay, it's okay.
Okay. All right. You're not, as long as you're not getting squeamish, buddy. That's all that matters to me. Can't have you passing us.
Based on
Yeah.
his axes with the snakes, I don't think rats are gonna bother him.
That's
But
true. That's true.
if they turn into puppies and were then beheaded, it would be an issue,
That's true.
I
That's
think.
fair.
Yeah,
But
well, if anyone's having a hard time feeling or finding this, maybe Ma in the chat can tell me if it's up on our web store or not. We have a lot of my books up there.
Well,
Oh, nice.
I was able to find it pretty easily, but I mean, whatever. I mean, Leo, you know what
but
it
if
is.
we would like to order it and have our nice little grubby hands all over it and
Yeah.
Yep.
wash them before you
Yeah.
touch them, it would be
Exactly.
nice to own this in a physical copy rather than digital.
No, totally.
Yes.
So much on the
Indeed.
desk.
And then one of the last panels, I mean, it was really hard to choose because there were so many good ones. Was, you know, when they meet their illustrious vampire hunter, which totally gave me Whistler from Blade vibes. You know, I just love what you guys were doing, you know, telling like just the backstory here of like you guys basically explained how your version of vampires are while these people are just, you know, cleaning up after stuff. So you're just dealing with these people are bleeding, soaked in blood, just whatever. And this old man is just telling them what is. And it was just in one page, like, you know, you could have done like tons of flashbacks and everything. You guys just kept it simple and it worked. Like, I feel like sometimes I feel some people will just stretch out some things. And I was like, no, you just one page, explain everything you need to, and then go back to giving people what they
Keep it
want. Just,
moving.
you know?
Yeah.
But like I said, this was just fantastic in terms of just informing the character, what the lore. I was like, just absolutely great. But again, while they're just dealing with this crazy shit.
Yeah, and that's all Mayberry too. That's all his script and his concept for how vampires are gonna work and stuff. It's
But
great. It's great stuff.
absolutely, and it's funny because this, and my last thing, and then Carrie, if you want to contribute, and I know you have thoughts. I this was the second time I've read something where vampires can't drink a certain kind of blood because it's been, in their mind, poisoned, because it's been maybe irradiated or whatever. So it's really interesting to see that be a plot line. And again, you had the what I like, the primary villain of it, the head of the clan of swords, just looking so disgustingly grotesque as
Yeah.
more and more went on. I was like, dude. So with that, what with that, I would just want to ask, like, what was there anything that was a particularly hard challenge in Bad Blood, and how did you overcome it?
The real challenge with Bad Blood was just sort of the learning the ropes of doing a watercolored book. This was the very first book I ever did like this, where I was painting all the pages, and yeah, there was just so much that I learned. I used and in fact, when you look at the beginning of the book, things are a little bit more like just sort of blown out and not quite as like, will it focus on this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
hold on a second. Let me turn this
Is
off.
it there?
No, we saw it.
Yeah.
We got you, bud.
So we got like, it's a little bit more like just sort of, I don't know. It's like I was scared to use too much paint. And then by the end of it, it's like the colors are a lot more like solid, and everything feels a little bit better lit and stuff. Like
Yeah.
so that was the big challenge, I think, was just learning the production of how to do a comic like this. And also it was basically well, no, I was about to say it was the second like thing. Like I did, yeah, well, I get, okay. Let me see if I can finish a thought. Dang. It was probably the second book where I had to create the look of the world, because when I did B.P.R.D, that world was already created for me before I even started. I was just like playing with stuff that people had already like invented. And the same was true for Sixth Gun. That was something that already existed, and I was just sort of along for the ride. But this one was the first one where I was like designing characters and designing the world and figuring out how everything was going to look. So that was definitely a big learning process. Yeah, and it's stuff like when you work in watercolor, it's like the scanning process and actually getting the artwork into the computer so it can be printed is like a whole ordeal. And I didn't have a good scanner when I was working on this, so I would actually have to FedEx my pages to Dark Horse for them to scan, and then they could send me the digital files so I could do cleanup and stuff on it. And that was a whole thing that was very, very interesting. I've since gotten a very nice scanner and can just do stuff. But
there you go.
But yeah, like that was a big learning curve for doing all that stuff.
What were the issues with the watercolor and scanning? Was it because it wasn't a high enough resolution, or was it with the colors?
Yeah, it's mostly color accuracy. It's pretty easy to get scanners that will do, well, even the resolution can be tricky sometimes with lower scanners, because lots of times you'll have a scanner that says it can scan at a certain dots per inch, but really it scans at a much lower and then algorithmically, like, makes it
Yeah,
bigger.
upscales it. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but the real big thing is just color accuracy, because what happens with a lot of cheap scanners is like it will just pick one color that it likes and make it really, really bright. And you can't, it makes it very, very hard to sort of isolate it and like take it back down to normal and stuff. You have to like do a lot of work. But I have the scanner I use is called like, it's an Epson like 11,000 graphics or something like that. I don't even think they make this particular scanner anymore, because I've had it for almost 10 years now, but it's really nice.
Nice. Yeah, actually, yeah, I was going to ask you, who made it. I know I used to work for a t-shirt company, and they needed to scan in the there was some special print they needed to scan in. We had to get a special scanner for it. I can't remember what it was.
That was my first art job, was working for a kids t-shirt company.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I worked for a company, they're like long gone, but they're called Jungle Rags. And their whole shtick was they had a patent actually on this design, where it would be like they'd do an animal's face on the front, so it'd be like an alligator, but it'd have a flap that would be like their mouth, so you could like open their mouth and there'd be like a little fish inside the alligator's mouth or something. That was their whole deal. And like they sold it mostly to like tourist market stuff, so I had to do part of my job, like someone would order shirts for their little shop in Maui or something, and my job was to prep the artwork to say Maui so they could screen print it on the already printed shirts, and so they could sell it there. Great stuff.
Listen, we all have to start somewhere, man.
You do what you can.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
no, I was going to say, but that's all I had of Bad Blood. So I don't know, Carrie, did you want to talk about Lonesome Hunters or something?
Oh, I actually had something else with Bad Blood,
Oh,
which
that's
was,
fine.
and it started out. You didn't actually grab a shot of it, but I figured, we didn't need
Sorry,
to throw
Carrie.
up a picture of every single thing that goes. But I don't know if you have one available to you, or if it's just something that I imagined in my head. But at the very beginning, we have the main character, is terribly sick with cancer and is going through his chemo treatments, and is just, there's an obvious difference in his health appearance versus his friends and stuff, and like when they're going to get the pictures taken and stuff. But I noticed that at least the way I saw it was that when they first encounter the real vampires, they all have the same pallid look as he does, where it's just like they've been buried and they're trying to get things. Also, they have this whole sickly sort of contour to him, and he eventually, as we know, gets a little healthier. There's cancer and chemo go up and down and stuff, but it was just like really striking to me, like how much it was like they're undead, and that's what he looks like, is that like death has definitely been hanging around him for a while.
Yeah, that's a neat observation. I don't remember if that was like an intentional thing or not, but yeah, that totally tracks.
Nicely done, Carrie.
It was just something that to me was kind of a really brilliant choice, or maybe a subconscious choice that you put into it. It just really felt like, wow. Okay. And then, because like the subculture vampire humans had their different, they had more the goth look. Instead of really being sickly, they were, hot sickly, like I'm doing this to be, the sexy vamp or something, instead of the like, oh my god, there are craters growing out of my face and my jaw's falling off, dead vamp.
Yeah, well, I definitely did, like I definitely did that intentionally, where the humans that were into vampires looked a little bit more vampire-y, like they dressed a little more vampire-y than the actual vampires, and the actual vampires were a lot more sort of earthy and and like wearing weird clothes that don't really make sense and stuff. Like,
True outsiders.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I also just want to say, and I for some reason didn't share it, so I don't know why. But the moment where one of the characters is just covered in blood, and she just like, oh my god, I have blood in my underwear. I'm like, I'm done. And I've worked in horror movies where we've covered people in so much fake blood,
Mhm.
and I would think that I would hear something like that, but horror actresses are champs like that. Like, no, just drown me in the shit. But her as a real person reaction was like, oh my god, there's blood everywhere. I have blood in my underwear.
As a
What?
girl, that's not something you should really worry about. Like, it's
Yeah,
natural. It's
yeah, I
okay.
understand.
Well,
Corey.
if it's someone else's blood, though, that can be disturbing.
Okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
is that
exactly.
is.
But just that reaction, especially because at that point, the character thought he had encountered another vampire, and
Mhm.
he just, again, I was like, yes, and we wonder why we're alone. You meet a girl who actually doesn't want to kill you, and you puke blood on her. I'm like, yep, yeah, that's love in a horror movie. But yeah, I was just like, oh right, that. But if you want to see that for real, you got to read the book. So that's
Yeah.
all I have to say.
Yes.
Indeed. So Carrie, I said Lonesome Hunters.
Lon- yes,
Yeah.
there were some things from Lonesome Hunters I wanted to cover, but you mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. You're going through on the kind of like what would I do different thing with Petrograd,
Mhm,
and
mhm,
honestly, having that scale of a project be your breaking into comics moment. And we didn't
mhm.
grab a bunch of stuff for this one because um it was just kind of a bit much to expect everybody who hadn't read, to
Yeah,
get to
yeah.
it. But um
I tried.
I
I looked at the cover.
it
There you go.
it's
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
the new cover, isn't it?
No, that's the original cover from
Oh, that is
2011.
okay. I I'm getting confused. But I mean, how was that to be like walking in and just being like, and this is my first thing. And I know that you explained how the inking and stuff was done. If you could kind of do, or the coloring kind of stuff was done, if you could give us a brief on that as well. But just having this be your first big project just had to be like, wow.
Super daunting.
Yeah, well, I think that if I had known um, how hard and how long I would have to work on this project, I don't think I would have had the courage to do it. I think the reason I was able to do this book was because I went in overly confident, and then sort of my confidence dropped at the same rate that the pages were coming out. So by the time I was like, I can't do this, the book was done. So it was like yeah, like because I remember telling my editor when I started this book that I was like, I think I'll have this done like in a year. And then it was like 2.5 years later, I finally wrapped it up, and it was just like, oof, it took a long time.
I
And
love
I
that
had to,
building.
and it worked out great because I was like in constant contact with my editors, and I turned in pages to them every week, which was a lifesaver for me. Like if I had tried to like turn in pages in like if I tried to do like a quarter of the book and then turn it in, it would have been impossible. But I was just like on a weekly schedule trying to get like somewhere between like 3 and 6 pages done per week, and just slowly, treating it like a marathon. I managed to get through it. But yeah, like I said, if I really understood how much work it would be, I would have chickened out and not done it. But luckily I went in stupid. So I could come out smart, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
Good job.
Yeah.
and it did great things for your career, It
It did. I'm still like really kind of surprised that like you said in the intro, I won that Russ Manning Award. Um, Showing Petrograd pages is what got me B.P.R.D. shown those to Mignola. Yeah, it's really incredible. In fact, I just did a signing I was in the Bay Area this weekend signing at shops, and I was talking to Brian Hibbs, and I was like, if like when I was working on this, even when it was done, I would not have predicted that like I would have a career in comics, really. I was sort of like, this book will come out, and I had not thought past that moment. So like I'm still sort of like just amazed that I'm still making comics, whatever, 14 years later.
And then, you, like I said, you explained this to us the other, like 2 weeks ago, I think. But the way that the overlay of the shading of the kind of orange or
Yeah, that
ochre,
orangey brown.
yeah, got done. That was because originally it was all black and white, wasn't it? In shades of gray,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, I had done black and white, and then we had the original plan with it was to do like digital gray tones on it. So it wouldn't be just straight black and white, it would have like gray shading and stuff in it. And I had done some tests as we were approaching the finish line on it. And there was some other book that Oni Press had published that year that was like two color. It was like black with a spot color. And I loved it. And I was like so excited. And I was like, we got to do that for Petrograd. And I did a bunch of tests with that where I did like digital shading on it, and then I did this watercolor test, and sort of everyone, and I think correctly, agreed that the watercolor was the way to go. And so the way I did it was I scanned in my black and white line art, and then I would print it out as a light blue onto it was actually on this 100% cotton like resume paper, like fancy pants resume paper that I got. So I would print it out onto that in this light blue, and then so I could see the image on it, and then I would do the shading really, really quickly in black watercolor. So every place where this brown is like 100% brown, in the original shading art, it's 100% black right there. And then I scanned that back in, and then in Photoshop I removed the blue and lined it up with the black line art and turned the shading brown at that point. So it's kind of a like involved production process, but it ended up being really, really fast.
and it's
Because I'm
very,
not
very
like
cool.
doing tight shading on this stuff. It's all very loose, and it goes outside the lines a lot and stuff like that.
Well, it certainly adds to the atmosphere of the book too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks.
It
Sorry,
gives that
Carrie, I
edge.
interrupted you. What were you saying?
I was just praising you, saying it was really cool, and it really adds and like makes it feel aged, you know. And
Yeah.
so, yeah.
And the in the digital version it's on white, but the printed version it's on a slightly creamy paper too, which is really nice
Oh,
to make
nice.
it feel a little bit older.
And this just was re-released again, wasn't it?
Yeah, we did
As
a
well.
10-year anniversary for it in 2001 that has like a new cover for it and stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so Leo, we're gonna hop over now to Lonesome Hunters because we need to talk about your comic that you made and wrote and did everything for that, like, all of us are in love with, and it's beautiful. I'm gonna give Leo a minute, but what was it like getting to write for the first time, like for your own stuff and just being like, this is mine? Did you have to worry about it? Did you just wait until you had everything? Oh, Leo, can you do not the Wolf Child, but the
No,
regular?
Leo, the other one is just Lonesome Hunters. The Wolf Child is the second one.
Writing for the first time. Well, first off, I should say that I started working on Lonesome Hunters in I think it was the end of 2012 or 2013 or something. It was so, and then it didn't come out until 2022, I think. So it was at least 10 years that I was sort of thinking about this book. And so as far as writing goes, it took me 10 years to be able to write that first issue. It was that difficult. And
Well, it
it
was
took me a
great.
long time to build up the confidence to actually feel like I could do it. But fortunately, I was working, I've worked with so many great writers, John Arcudi and Cullen Bunn and Jonathan Mayberry and Jeff Lemire and just like really, really top-notch writers I've had in my career. And so like I feel like I learned a lot from working with them and was able to sort of use that experience to help me figure out how to write this book.
Absolutely. No, and it was such a great story. I mean, I especially enjoyed, the spookier elements. Like, I definitely am now extra trepidatious of magpies. I mean, I was already cautious, having read a lot of Hellboy, about crows, because that definitely hammered the ominousness of it. But I'm definitely going to be concerned about leaving anything shiny, because a magpie might start talking and take it away from me, or might
Yeah.
sit on my head and possess my body. So, like, okay, we're just going to avoid birds. We're just going to stay
Well,
away from birds.
magpies are fine as long as you don't steal from them.
Yes, as you noted, they're not too quite fond of that one.
Yeah.
You have to
Yes.
salute or wave to the magpie if you see a lone one over in the UK,
Oh
because
yeah.
it's one for sorrow, or ask him like, "Hello, Mr. Magpie, how is your wife?" So that you have two magpies that you're addressing, so you have mirth
Mhm.
instead of sorrow,
Oh,
because you don't want
okay.
a single magpie. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something I
I
learned.
I thought it was Heckle and Jekyll.
Get
No,
out.
they're crows.
Those are
I thought
my
they
species. No, but corvids in general are all very exceptionally intelligent.
Yeah.
Oh my God, right here. Yeah. When the color schemes and everything going with like pulling it into the reflecting on the wall and coming back out. This is just such a gorgeous shot.
Thank you.
And the
Yeah, that was
possession.
I do remember when I was writing that and I was trying to figure out like how am I going to make a magpie scary? Like it's just a kind of a medium-sized bird, and having them like possess you, because if you go to like the next page, I think he stands up. No, a little bit. Oh no, it's not till the second issue. Sorry, spoilers.
That's okay. I want to show a
Yeah.
couple things from the second issue if he gets good. Okay, so thunk.
Very fond of that cover
This
too. Like that
this
the cover for issue 2. I'm really proud of that.
yeah, and the splatter on this is beautiful. And
Thank you.
that's
Wham!
I I love the next page as well, because it's another one of those like you made such a rich background here. And I'm gonna keep joking, it's a splatter, but it just those little bits help set off everything else. The light, it's not quite white, it's a yellow that you have going there, but
Mhm.
you know, you don't really think about it, but if it wasn't there, it wouldn't be quite as bright of a painting. Um,
Yeah, the little especially the little white
uh,
splatters work so
yeah,
good to be like there's light coming through the air and it's catching stuff that's in the air. Well, and it's a little bit of a crutch too, like like if you look at that big tree kind of just off to the right of center there, there's like when I drew that, there's 10 lines making that whole tree, and the rest is sort of made up of splatter. Like all the texture of that bark is just from splatter, which is like a kind of a cheat instead of having to actually draw it all.
but it works. So it's not so much cheating as a technique that you have turned into an exceptionally effective tool.
Well, thank you.
Well,
You
and I will say this, anytime I saw the sword, like I was like, man, this man spent a lot of time in the Mike Mignola universe, because that definitely gave me, anytime Mike would ever draw a sword, it's very distinct. Like it's never
Yeah.
like it's funny because I was always talking about that with people like Mike style, and then people who work with him, they have similar, but they'll take nods to it. And it was just like how people draw hands or like
Mhm.
swords. It's never just. It's always like big and bulky,
Yeah.
and it just always looks heavy. Like you just can imagine it wouldn't be like, oh yeah, you can just pick it up and it was like it's like, oh fuck, this is heavy.
Yeah.
So just seeing this old man, clutching this artifact that he is just so scared to use, I was just like, boy, this is just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I think Mike and I had the same problem because the main sword in Hellboy is that one from what do they call it? From the olden days.
what,
From
what
the
Excalibur?
time when the Ogdru were like originally
Oh
like
yeah,
coming to
oh
Earth or whatever.
yeah, I know what you're thinking of. I was like, damn it, like I was like,
I
you're a
I
fan, you can't even
seen
name
I
the damn sword.
yeah.
Shit. No, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
So we sort of have that same issue. Like this sword is also supposed to be super ancient. So we both had to like figure out how to make a sword that looks like it was invented before swords were a thing. Nobody knew how to make a sword when they made this one. So this was their best guess.
It's a Kingslayer for stopping horses kind of
Yeah.
thing. Um, I really wanted it. This is why I had Leo pull this up. Actually, I really wanted to. Well, besides the opening page, but I really wanted to pull attention to the page on the right with your lettering thing there. I'm obsessed with lettering. But the motion on the swish, the little tiny trip, and then the like
like,
landing on the thumb. Oh, sorry, I hit my computer. I was excited. But the landing
shows.
on the thumb there are all just like brilliant and so
Oh,
much
thank you.
fun. Like it's a very intense moment, but it adds to the whole thing as it's like you feel as you're going through it, and it also made it really really fun for me to read it, to see it like vroom, vroom,
Well,
so
I think too, like hopefully when people read this, because so many stories that we get fed nowadays are like, oh, this guy, he's like the best who ever did it. And he comes out of retirement and, oh, well, look at that. He's still the best that ever did it. And, like John Wick style. And I am in love with characters that are trying their hardest but aren't good at the thing, but have to find a way to get through it, even though they don't know what they're doing, even though they trip over their own feet.
Right.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just great.
But to talk about your sound effect love, I also love sound effects, and I've sort of always tried really hard to do the sound effects in the art as opposed to, a lot of artists will let the letterers take care of the sound effects. And I
Mhm.
always feel like it needs to be as integrated as possible. And then also there's that sound effect in the panel 1, 2, 3, in panel 4 that is one of my favorite kinds of little sound effects where it just says trip.
Yeah.
Like the sound it makes is the thing that it is, and that always cracks me up.
And I will say another moment I love from this is when they're in the car traveling
Hmm.
and she's describing her favorite show and he's just
Favorite
asking
anime.
yeah, his favorite anime. And literally, I'm not gonna lie, I very much sympathize because anytime I'm traveling with Carrie, this is our dynamic because I'll literally be talking about this thing and she's just like, sounds nice. Sounds cool. Oh, what's the protagonist? What do they do? What's the actor? Like just very
Uh,
simple questions, and I'm like, it's great. You'll love it. Like, do you care? No, she does. But it's just, I feel like anybody who's ever been super enthusiastic about something had that moment with someone who was older, much like a grandparent. And
Yeah.
I know because I had a moment like that trying to explain the X-Men to my grandmother. And I've never seen someone trying so hard to sound interested, but really not caring. You know, just like, that's nice, dear. So school, I'm like, yeah, but Sabretooth though.
Yeah. No, I remember like well, actually, I guess I don't remember this, but my mom has reminded me of it a few times because it's a cute
Mhm.
story. But when I was like 13 or 14, I started reading Mage, The Hero Discovered by Matt Wagner. And it's
Mhm.
still one of my favorite comic book series, but it was very formative for me. And I was so into it that I took it to my mom and I'm like, "Mom, you have to read this because I need somebody to talk to about this comic." And you're the only person I can think of who will actually sit down and read it. And she did. She sat down and read it so we could talk about it.
Nice.
And so that was some of the inspiration of that. But it also, like that scene in particular, was sort of the two characters, Lupe, who's the young woman, and Howard, who's the old man. Like I wanted a scene where um, Lupe was sharing something that was very personal to herself, and
Mhm.
having Howard be because Howard doesn't give a shit about Mecha Saber Gemini. You know, really doesn't care, but he loves that there's somebody with him who's sharing something that they love, and he's like just soaking in the fellowship of being with somebody who's excited about something in the world, because that's
Absolutely.
far from Howard's experience in life in this story.
Absolutely. And then even later on, they're in that like hotel room and they're watching it, and he's actually asking questions like, what is going on here? Like, what is it? And she's just explaining the lore. And I'm just
uh,
like, I was
and
like, my
he's
God.
like, yeah,
th-
it's an anime about mecha guys, and he's like, I thought it would be more like a Disney film.
yeah. And it's literally me watching Batman with my father. Everything is always like, oh yeah, but Christian Bale. I'm like, oh, like, no, no, no. Adam West. I'm like, Dad, there was so much more to Batman than Adam West. But he was like, yeah, but this. I'm like, okay, Dad, let's just keep watching the movie.
Yeah, I
When
I
I
don't want.
went
remember
back,
being a pretty young kid and asking my mom if Batman, the Adam West Batman, was intentionally funny, because I thought maybe that was just like the dumb shit that like old people liked back in the day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, having met the man is pretty. He was having met the man once in my life. He's pretty fucking funny. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
I
lie.
believe it.
Oh yeah, especially when I asked him, I said, "What's your favorite line?" And he said, and I was like, "Well, that mayor in Quahog's a real hoot." That was his answer, and I was just like, "I can't. Even your answers are hysterical, Mayor West. Thank you." Um, but yeah. So I just wanted to comment that was one of my favorites. Was that, and there was one moment I got to give you credit for. I think it's where Howard is trying to apologize to, I think it was Trina or Tina, the,
Tina,
the
yeah.
Tina, and he's basically trying to apologize for being an absentee dad, and she doesn't let him, and you just have that moment of silence
Yeah.
between the both of you. I was like, wow, that is just heartbreaking.
Yeah,
You
well,
know,
there's more to that relationship. If I can ever get back to Lonesome Hunters, because Howard isn't actually her dad. They just knew each other from long ago.
well,
Howard is actually really good friends with her mom.
well,
Is the
what I,
relationship? Yeah,
yeah, but it just had that like absentee dad regrets vibe that I
yeah,
feel like you have when you're later in your life, or at least as I've been told. And it was just like, again, the book has, it's a lot of different points, but you juggled them so well.
well,
You know,
thanks.
especially
Yeah,
like, you had the crazy weird shit, and then you had, this younger person, and this surrogate parent that's now taking care of you, and then this weird thing that unites them, and and then things like that. It was just, I was like, wow, right
Well,
in the
thank
field.
you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I had so much fun writing Lonesome Hunters. It's probably my favorite thing I've ever done.
And everybody's really hoping that it gets picked up by somebody now. So
Yeah.
we need
Yeah.
more.
No, it's one of those things. I've had to work on a bunch of other projects in the meantime, but I am like slowly picking away at it, and I have like the first issue of a third arc about halfway laid out and
Mhm.
stuff. But
Well,
it's just a slow process at this point.
I mean, hey, listen, man. Other things have been picked up for less, and if it gets, like in my head, I'm like, if it gets a third season, let's go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But no, but it's fantastic, and
Oh, nice.
I hope you get to tell more, because even just Wolfchild with that little heartbreaker was just,
Just
again, the kind of weird tragedy that I have become way too used to reading Hellboy. And I was like, oh no, don't go into, like,
Yeah.
the second I was like, don't go into those woods. I've seen where this goes. You don't want to go into those woods, because that never goes well. And then, oh, regular people in the woods. Oh no, they're
Yeah.
not going to come out alive. And you know what? I'm not going to spoil anything, but some didn't.
Oh.
But I won't say who. But there was definitely some mayhem.
so we've kept Tyler here so far for just over an hour and 15 minutes, and we have not actually even started talking about Out of Alcatraz yet. But
Shit.
we also haven't let
Thank you,
Leo
Karen.
speak at all.
Okay, Leo,
So
go.
It's tough to get in there, but I know we are running out of time, but I wanted to make sure that we did touch on Out of Alcatraz. So Tyler, this came out recently. Could you explain to everybody watching, what is Out of Alcatraz?
Out of Alcatraz is inspired by a true life event. In 1962, three men escaped from the Alcatraz prison. They basically made they used raincoats, and they made a raft, and they made life jackets for themselves, and they found a way to burrow through out of their cell into a gap in the walls. There's a whole film called Escape from Alcatraz that covers it in a lot of detail. But our story sort of picks up with them after they've left the island, and they make it across the bay to land. And the official story is that that these guys died in San Francisco Bay, and that's the end of it. But our story sort of explores the idea of like what would have happened if they didn't. What if they did make it to land, and starts to explore ideas about like they've escaped, but how can they be free? Because like what are you going to do once you've escaped from Alcatraz? So yeah, and that's basically what it is. It's about a bunch of people trying to figure out how to be free, and it's sort of set in that 1962 California. It's a very sort of noir story,
Mhm.
but it's like a weird time in California, even, where it's like the civil rights movement is like just sort of starting to gather steam. The summer of '69 won't happen for another 7 years. But the things that lead up to the like counterculture and all that stuff is already sort of bubbling underneath the surface. And yeah, I think it's a good book. I'm so happy with this. And working with Chris Cantwell on this has been a dream. It's been so fun.
Oh no, and it definitely paces itself very well. It felt very much like one of those old, like, Turner Classic kind of projects. Like, it definitely had that old fashioned pacing. And then again, the long shots, like something like this, it's just amazing. Again, it's just the detail, like you see everything you need to know, and then these little panels, like what you just did there, like it's very cinematic, from
Well,
what I've
thanks.
seen,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, I mean, I just noticed that as well, and it moves very nicely. The characters are very well established, and it's just, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah, I
So
think this is more than any other book I've ever worked on. This one was sort of inspired by movie and TV stuff.
Well,
Because
also,
I hadn't
do you
really
know?
done like a crime thing before, so
Mhm.
I was a little bit nervous going into it, and I started watching a lot of noir movies and watching a lot of noir or reading a lot of noir books, and man, I loved it. I love like because there's something about like I basically ended up treating it a lot like a horror book without a monster in it.
Mhm.
It's just like the monster is the characters. The monster is they're trying to get, you know, the thing that they're trying to get away from.
Uh,
Those ocean shots in the beginning were crazy.
Thanks. Those were inspired by like I wanted to make it feel like you were in the raft with them, basically. But it's also like very much inspired by TV shows. Because like when there was a show, when you're watching shows from the 70s and 80s in particular, it's like if anybody had to get lost at sea, they couldn't afford to go take a camera out to the ocean and wait for a storm to come. So it was all like filmed in a swimming pool on the like Universal back lot with people throwing buckets of water and the camera just shaking like crazy, to make the illusion that they were out in the ocean.
Right.
So I was sort of trying to get that feeling with the scene. And everybody's just screaming.
do you know if Cantwell, before he wrote this, that he looked at any of the new research for Alcatraz?
I don't know specifically what research he did, or how old it is. I know he researched the hell out of it though.
Okay.
Because one of the things about it though is that most of the research you can do about Alcatraz is based on like how they escaped and whether or not they made it. And there's stuff like there was a car stolen on Angel Island that night
Yep.
that the FBI basically decided they were going to ignore.
Mhm.
There was there was a ship captain who reported seeing a body washed out to the ocean, but the FBI, like that person reported it, but the FBI never followed up with him. And it really looks like one of those things where the authorities had set up Alcatraz to be like, this cannot, the people we put in Alcatraz are the worst of the worst, and no one will ever escape from there. And we, the authorities, are infallible. But really, like most of the convicts at Alcatraz were sort of petty criminals who kept escaping from other prisons. Like Frank Morris, the main character here, he had escaped from prison before, and that's what got him sent to Alcatraz. And I think the brothers, Clarence and John, um, also escaped from prison, and that's why they got sent to Alcatraz. I don't quote me on that one though. But definitely Frank Morris was there because he was like a repeat prison break guy. So it wasn't even like really, really bad. Like it wasn't murderers and terrorists and stuff. Like
Mhm.
the characters in this story were sort of petty criminals, but they just escaped from. They didn't want to be in prison, so they kept escaping. Uh, but one of the things that about the escape is then like authorities didn't want to admit that you could escape from Alcatraz, although they did shut it down within about a year and a half of this escape. They shut the whole thing down.
Oh, wow.
um, and uh, and then the same when they couldn't find him, they didn't want to admit that that these guys who they had told the world were the worst of the worst, they didn't want to tell them that they were just running around. So they just covered it up for themselves. At least that's sort of the appearance of it. But then our story sort of is more about sort of the psychological and emotional drama of how do you, like, once you're out of the frying pan and into the fire, like, what do you do now? Like, how do you get out of the fire now? And they'll meet a lot of people along the way who are sort of also trying to get free in their own way, and people who are happy to take advantage of people who have limited options in life, you know?
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, you talked earlier. We talked earlier for your other books. Building the atmosphere with
Mhm.
with your art, and I think you really captured it with this one, because reading it, like I'm a history buff, and it's watching, like there was a recent story about escaping from Alcatraz, and you mentioned Angel Island, how they now think that maybe they drifted a little further down and actually made it to the island.
Mhm.
But reading this and taking in your art, definitely it felt engrossing. You really captured like the time of that.
Oh, thank you so much. I put a lot of effort into that and trying to just capture that. And some of it was easy, like getting the cars right was drawing cars was hard for me, but I feel like I got way better as the series went along. But getting them, the period cars right was easy. There was stuff that was more challenging, like later in the book, they end up in, I don't think this is a big spoiler, but they ended up in Redding, California, or at least part of the story takes place in Redding, California. And we had reference for what the police station in Redding looked like. And I was like, oh, I'm going to try to find some more photos of that so I can get, choose a different angle if I want to. And in doing that, I discovered that the one we were planning on using didn't become the police station until 1974 or something. So then I had to go searching to find out what the real police station looked like in 1962, and I ended up calling the library in Reading and talking to a very wonderful librarian there and being like, do you know what the police station was, or do you know where I could look that up? And she was like, yeah, and she went and found a locally published like history magazine that had a photo of it, and it was not at all what I was expecting. So I would have never come up with it on my own, but we got it right for the book. And so
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we worked really hard to make it be a period thing. And like I was saying earlier, it's like the setting is so much of what it means to like make these immersive, like if it's wrong, it's wrong, and it just won't feel right.
Like that final little shot there with the sun coming up as they're settling
Yeah, like
in for their.
that's basically as far as they have more of a plan, but that was like all the hard part. Finally they're in their street clothes, nobody knows where they are, sun's coming up. What's gonna happen next?
Yeah.
And how many issues is this planned for?
It is 5 issues, and the first issue is a double-sized.
Nice.
44 pages.
Awesome.
Yeah,
And
I'm
go for it.
almost done with the final issue. I'm on page 9 right now.
Awesome.
So that I'll be done with that in the next 2 weeks or so. It's very exciting. It's been a long time coming.
So we're
And
excited to get a chance.
oh no, I was just gonna say, just reminder for everybody that issue 1 is out now, so definitely hit your LCS and pick up a copy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna love this.
And I have heard, like my editor went to her local shop and it was already sold out. But they told me yesterday that they're going back to print for it. So there should be a second printing coming soon if your shop doesn't have it.
And
Yeah.
I'm
That's
a lot of,
awesome.
I'm seeing a lot of positive comments about it online too.
Yeah, me too. It feels really nice. Like it's lots of times you put out books and in in spite of your best efforts, like it just sort of comes out and some people read it and most people don't, and it sort of just plugs along like that. But Out of Alcatraz really feels good. It feels like the release of this first issue has been really, really positive. I'm really excited about it.
Well, we're excited for you, and definitely want you to have the most success on this. It's definitely was a good read, the first issue, and I can't wait to see issue 2.
Nice.
Absolutely.
It's a nice turn for you to go through, having the crime thing going on. And it's still got all those dark elements in it, though. So it's going to be so much fun to stay with. So,
Yeah.
Okay, this is that hour and a half moment of, did we cover everything?
He's got to go. Right.
Yeah, we definitely want to be respectful of your time. Definitely sorry for keeping you an hour and a half, but it's
I
definitely-
could go a little bit longer if you guys wanted to, or if you want to wrap up, I'm happy to wrap up too.
Don't say
Drew,
it.
Guys?
Don't say it to Henry. She'd be like, "No, stay, don't go, stay. Watch us do the news. Watch us do the news." But no, he's
It's
fine.
been a pretty far-reaching interview. Going all the way back to Bad Blood was pretty fun. I actually hadn't flipped through Bad Blood in a long time. That was really neat.
There you go.
It
You're welcome.
I'm always relieved when I look back at my old work and it looks better than I remembered it. Like I have that distance of time and I can sort of look at it a little bit more objectively, and I'm sort of like, oh, this is all right. This is kind of cool.
Very nice. Pretty
The
cool.
purple zombie is still good. I just got to let you know that. I really enjoyed that. Even though you didn't like it, the purple zombie was good. So
Carrie's talking about, I did on one of my live streams, I got a new purple paint and I wanted to try it out, and I did a painting of a zombie. Do I have it right here?
Yeah, you do.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
That
I
would
do
be
right here.
awesome.
So I did this
purple zombie.
It's okay. It's fine. But I was like, when I got started on it, I had a vision in my head for it looking like way cooler than it turned out. So
It looks good.
that's always the challenge as an artist, is when you have a picture in your head and it doesn't end up on the paper, it can be very disappointing. Even if it turns out great, it's like just I missed the thing I was aiming for,
You'll find it.
Yeah.
That's how it always goes.
Yeah.
When we don't succeed, we paint again. Yeah, that's how that goes. And last thing I will say, because I had this inside joke with Carrie when we were talking about you coming on, and I was just imagining, I was like, man, can you imagine if we ever had Tyler draw the three of us, like it was a cover of Harrow County, and I was like, I don't even know, but I imagine I'm upside down in it, just because I'm just zany. And Carrie's holding a book, and her hair is just all magical, and I don't know, Leo. I'm sure there'll be something with an axe and snakes. We have to embrace your snake hunter, your lore.
I don't even know if Tyler knows that story.
No, yeah, but we can't tell him.
At some point, we will acquaint Tyler with the Leo lore, because Leo could actually be a comic. It would be fun. Like, he's worked for like people who ended up like being in fights with the Yakuza. He had snakes that were infesting his old family farm grounds. That they have this whole like area. It's not just like the farmhouse. It's like the whole family lived in this compound, only he didn't have a fence around it, and he's like running around like killing these like 6 foot, 9 foot long snakes with axes and cutting them off the building of that they're climbing up and doing things.
No,
And
no,
he's like,
Carrie.
oh, and then I
And
got hit in the head twice with a backhoe, and I flipped a 4-wheeler, and then I went and had to fight this thing. And it's
yeah,
just like, you had the most dangerous, bizarre life in the world.
yeah,
And it's
and
all like in rural Connecticut. And it's just, it
Yeah.
is a setting for like, I don't know what
It-
kind
it-
of,
it-
and then he's just like, hi, I'm the monkey behind the keyboard. It's like, you're like Indiana Jones on crack. And then
no,
he just
Carrie, you're
decided to
missing
become
the
a
important thing.
podcaster.
Is he shrugs it off like it was stamping on a bug. It was like, oh yeah, you know, just did that. Like, oh yeah,
Well,
it was no big deal. And it's just, I'm just like, Leo, it is a big deal. Like, so many questions. Like, where were your parents? Like, you know,
Handing him the axes.
no,
yeah,
they were just there. I had
no. No. You don't talk right now. You can't talk. You talked enough. No,
okay. No, yeah,
no,
I just
no,
real quick.
snakes.
Yes,
We
yes,
went
yes.
over the snakes. No,
Drew.
you can't. No.
Yeah,
Up, up,
Drew-
up,
no,
up, 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 up,
I-
up, 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 up. No,
Hold on a
no.
second. Okay, Leo, you're
Okay.
allowed to talk now.
Yeah. So yeah, real quick. Yeah, I did live in a snake infested house. And I was killing about a dozen snakes a summer. They were about 6 feet long. They were black snakes. But they
Were
were
they like
racers.
water moccasins or?
No, racers. So they were very aggressive.
Mhm.
And there was one day where I was in the back room trying to catch one, and it was really hot, so it was moving like a just like a mother, like, and it was crawling up the wall, and I had 2 axes, so I was using one to pull it off the wall and then the other to dispatch it. But just the act of trying to catch it as it's like crawling up the wall was, yeah, it was crazy.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's,
He
I
said
don't
the
even
picture.
have like a thing of like, I'm not even like super scared of snakes, but like I certainly have never found a snake inside my house.
Yeah,
I-
I still have nightmares about it. It's like, yeah.
Ugh.
Why do we always tell
Yeah.
these stories at the end when people need to go? Like, I swear to God, we do this on purpose, Leo.
Because we never let Leo talk before it's
We,
the
and
end.
whose fault is that? He sits here. He could chime in, but he defaults
Oh,
to our
I try to chime in,
And then
but
I
you know,
just
when there's great
mute
conversation
Drew.
going, you know, you gotta let it flow.
I should point out that Drew started telling the story, not Leo.
Yeah, exactly.
every time. Every
Yes.
time.
Okay,
Every
and
it
Leo
is
does
my
have
curse.
Leo does have one question that he likes to ask everybody, so we're gonna at least let him have that one.
Yeah.
Why? Thank you, Carrie.
Unless you have any, you can have stuff before that as well if you like.
yeah,
But I'm
no,
just
we'll,
gonna.
we'll keep it to this, and I'm sure we've asked you before, Tyler. But what is something, you know, when you're not drawing and writing, what do you dork out about? Like, what do you do to unwind? You know, do you like are you, like I mentioned, like a history buff? Would you like watch movies? Do you play video games? Do you build models? What do you do?
I do my probably my biggest hobby is making music. Like I'll write and record a lot of songs. I actually did a whole Harrow County soundtrack.
Sweet.
That's like the soundtrack to the comic. It's on Bandcamp. If you just search Harrow County on there. And it's streaming just about everywhere except for Spotify.
Okay.
So if you want to stream it, you can listen.
Wonderful.
But yeah, dude, I like making music a lot, and I like musical gear and stuff. I've been really geeking out on for the last year or two. I got a MPC, which is a music production center, is what it stands for. But it's like I'm sure you've seen them for hip hop. It's like you got 16 pads and you can finger drum and you can load up samples and do stuff. And I have one of those, and I've been geeking out a lot on sort of building music through sort of sampling different, like I like setting up microphones and sampling myself, like banging around in the garage and stuff like that.
Oh,
Okay.
that's
Yeah, that's sort of my geeky thing. Every once in a while, I'll post on like Blue Sky about it, and nobody knows what the hell I'm talking about. Because I'll be like, oh, they got to do firmware for my MPC, and nobody knows. Nobody knows what I'm saying.
I'll keep a lookout for it then. I had one back in the 90s. I had like a old drum machine, electronic drum machine, and that was a lot of fun.
Do you remember what kind?
Oh, no, it's been too long.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I have music gear that I got rid of, and I'll still like go online and look at it like I'm stalking an ex-girlfriend sort of a thing, where I'm just like there's a reel-to-reel recorder that I used to have called a Tascam 388, and it was like a single unit, so it was like a reel-to-reel recorder that laid flat on the table, but it had like a whole mixer attached to it, and it was like this thing that weighed 70 pounds and was like, 3.5 feet across, and when we moved out of California, we just didn't have a place for it. So I gave it to a friend of mine. And every once in a while, I'm like, fuck, I wish I could get that back so bad.
We'll keep an eye
And
out.
have you looked on like eBay or something like that? It has like
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like I had originally bought mine for $500, and those go for like $3,000 or $4,000 nowadays.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah, I need like something to get turned into a movie so I can get another one.
There we go. Harrow County the movie.
Harrow County the movie. Get Tyler a Tascam 388.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Lonesome Hunters series. That would make a great, like, I don't want to say Netflix, maybe, I'm not sure, but it would make a great streaming series,
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well, again, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us, man. It's been absolutely great, and good luck on all the cons you're going to and everything you're working on and whatnot. And Carrie will keep us updated on everything you're doing. So
Oh yeah, I do.
Good.
But thank you so much for joining us, and seriously, best of luck with everything you're working on, man.
Thank you so
Yes,
much.
Jeremy, we're still going. God,
It's my pleasure.
sorry,
Let's
I'm
have a good
sorry.
day.
No, it was very nice. It's just somebody had to make a comment.
Yeah.
So
I know we didn't discuss it in the beginning, Tyler, but when you're ready, if you hit the leave studio button, it'll prompt you to go to an uploads page. If you can just leave it up until it completes, because we take everybody's audio and video separately and then mix it.
Okay, that makes sense. All
it
right.
does.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks so much for having me. It was really nice to talk to you. And it was fun to talk to you and see your face, Carrie.
Yes, I will see you on I will talk to you on Friday.
Okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
That was awesome.
We know what, when we're done, we're going to talk about interview etiquette, because sometimes I swear to God, me and you are oil and vinegar in such a way. Mr. Pond.
So anyway,
Carrie's
yeah. Well, we need to push through the rest because I have a very early morning.
Okay, so right to it. Let's go.
Okay. Well, you know what that means.
First thing first.
It's variant watch, everybody. All right, starting up, we got a very short variant watch, so I'm going to get through both of them, but I'm still going to give them their props. So first up,
yeah, hold on. Why the hell is it taking a while to load? Damn it! I loaded this before the show. Jeez. It's all me. It's all me. It's all me.
Okay. All right. So, starting off, I never thought I'd ever say this, but joining the hilarious amount of celebrities we've seen on the Batman Superman book, we have our latest one with the internet meme cooking superstar Guy Fieri heading to Flavortown in DC Comics on a celebrity cameo variant cover. So drawn by Dan Mora, this cover draw just draws on a long line of other celebrity variants we've seen throughout the book. So you got there, you have Jerry Seinfeld, Paul McCartney. Well, that's Bill Skarsgård there.
No.
Yes, yeah, it's Carrie's favorite actor, Nicolas Cage. William Shatner. And now Guy Fieri. So this will be a variant cover for Batman and Superman World's Finest issue 37. And I just want to make this clear because I don't want anyone in the comments to be like, oh, one, Splash Pages offers no refunds if you buy this and think that he's in the book. This is not a cameo in the book. It's on a variant cover. But either way, Batman and Superman are going to be going to Flavortown. So super excited for when this hits on March 19th. There's really nothing more to say in that, but it's a brave new world.
That wasn't Bill Skarsgård, though.
I thought it was. Am I wrong?
Yeah, it's Jack White.
Oh, that's my bad. I'm sorry. The glowing eyes. Having read it, glowing eyes.
No, I thought the same when I saw it when I was putting it together. But yeah, it's actually Jack White. I just want to make sure we got that right before we.
All right, thank you, Carrie. We much appreciated.
There you
Carrie
go.
for the win. All right, but like I was saying, Guy Fieri, March 19th, Batman Superman World's Finest issue 37. So the next one is super adorable, and I'm very happy to cover this. So, celebrating the long-awaited new season of Disney's Phineas and Ferb premiering this summer on the Disney Channel and Disney Plus, Marvel Comics are going to be featuring characters of the series in a set of variant covers. Variants for the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men. These are 3 Phineas and Ferb covers, including artwork by their co-creator and executive producer, Dan Povenmire, as well as Eisner-nominated cartoonist Jacob Shabbat, that are going to be reimagining Phineas and Ferb, their older sister Candace, their pet platypus Perry, you know who you are, and others as legendary Marvel characters. So, so right there, Leo, you got to give me a minute, man. Back.
I thought you were coughing because I needed to move forward. I thought you were.
Oh no, that was.
You were nudging me. I thought you were, okay, not angrily nudging me.
No. That's a So right there, that's a recreation of Rick Leonardi's New Mutants issue 50. Thank you. That's Jim Steranko's Strange Tales issue 167. And then
I only have the 2.
And then there's also one more, which I don't believe that they have the cover for yet, or it hasn't been released. John Romita's Marvel Treasury Edition issue 2. So we saw Candace summoning dark forces as the mutant sorceress magic, Agent P, aka Perry the Platypus, embarking on globe-trotting missions like Nick Fury, and Phineas Ferb, Isabella, and Buford saving the day as the Fantastic Four. This is absolutely awesome. I'm a thorough fan of this kind of variant madness, and we cover so many variants. And a lot of it just usually goes right over my head, but I'm actually excited about these. So if you're a fan, please pick these up. It's so fucking cute. That's all I got to say.
Awesome.
So, yep, but that's it for Variant Watch. So it's not time for Drew's reviews. It's time for
Drew's News. Exciting tales, fresh comic views. In the pages, heroes fly, villains plot under the sky. From Gotham's dark to Metropolis views, we cover stories old and new. Drew's News, your daily source for comic clues. Join the fun, this heroic crew. in the world of Drew's Comics News.
Excelsior!
There's still not enough beer in the world for this shit. All right, you know what, Leo, Carrie, let's just
All right.
do your thing.
Okay. So, although we would love to have you continue to listen to our podcast, you can do the same thing while also checking out the Vito Tanzino podcast. What we have going on here is this started back in January, and guys, I've been watching it. It's pretty goddamn good. Dean Haspiel and Vito Del Sante have put together their own little podcast. I'm like, it's so cute. But no, it's really great. They've been friends for like ever. They're both fabulous creators, and they just like to hang out and chat and bring up things in the different comic world. Um, you can catch it over on YouTube, Spotify, Pocket Cast, or Apple Podcasts. But some of the fun that they've had is like recently they had Jonathan Ames on. He doesn't do podcasts, he doesn't do social media, he doesn't really do anything, but he came on to them because they're friends, they're buds. And he talked with them about his latest novel, writing advice for the frightened, collaborating with Dean before on The Alcoholic, and a lot more. They've also had on Russ Kazmierzak, Monty Keene and Matt Major, Rob Guillory, Ray Anthony Height are both expected to be coming on soon. And go ahead and check these guys out. They have so much fun going back and forth, and you can tell they're buddies. And Dino's studio is in his bathroom. His wife will occasionally, Vito's wife occasionally comes in and like tries to hide the toilet, and then wanders back out. But it's a really fun podcast, guys. And they've just gotten started, so get some subscriptions going. Check them out. See what's going on. We love you guys. So we're sharing some quality content with you.
Awesome.
All right.
Next.
Yes.
Yes. This is awesome. So, in 1998, we saw Marvel Knights just change the comic book industry and redefine Marvel storytelling. Now, 25 years later, two of that imprint's key creators, former Marvel editor-in-chief Joe Quesada and acclaimed writer Christopher Priest, are back under the groundbreaking Marvel Knights banner this June with Marvel Knights: The Worlds to Come. So it's developed and almost completely done in its entirety. This is a 6-issue series where Quesada and Priest are going to combine their talents to produce a new vision of the Marvel Universe, beginning in Wakanda, where, spoiler, the King of Wakanda is dead, leaving unguarded the world's most advanced technology, precious metals, and a crypt vault of dark secrets, while triggering global conflicts among Marvel's heroes, villains, and mutants. With T'Challa gone and the future of the Marvel Universe teetering on a vibranium knife edge, a tribal challenge ensues for the Wakandan throne, and its mysterious victor will emerge as the new leader of Wakanda and usher in the world to come. This is a 6-issue miniseries, as you see there, with art and the wraparound cover by Joe Quesada, with story by Christopher Priest and colors by Richard Eisner. On sale June 4th. I mean, like I said, the creators literally said that this is just one of the best things they've worked on. It is just looks like so much fun. And having read Christopher Priest's Black Panther, I'm super excited because that was just some of the best stuff I've ever read from the character. So for them to come back and with this new take on the character, but also bring back Marvel Knights, I mean, my God, this is very exciting. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that.
Beautifully done as well. Just
Oh my God,
gorgeous artwork there.
Absolutely. Quesada is just on his game right now. He's doing great. And Carrie, you actually
Oh
got
yeah.
to meet him a bit this past weekend.
Yeah.
So
He was in the middle of drawing he had a huge page of panels that he was working on, like, going through. So I didn't want to take up too much of his time because he was hard at work getting things done, but he very nice, very super sweet guy. Yeah.
yeah.
And just like glancing over, it's like, oh, you are making magic. I do not want to interrupt the magic because damn, that is gorgeous.
Word. But yeah, so that's that. What's next?
Leo.
Leo.
Yeah.
It's you. You're next, buddy.
Leo Paul.
The doctor is in.
Okay, so this summer, fan favorite rogue archaeologist Dr. Aphra, she's making her comeback to Marvel Comics in a brand new ongoing series, taking the sometimes good, sometimes bad character to unexplored territory. So, Star Wars Dr. Aphra Chaos Agent is going to launch on June 18th. And in the story, we find Dr. Aphra in a post-Return of the Jedi setting. So it's going to be moving beyond her original adventure during the original trilogy. And writer Cherish Chen and artist Gabriel Guzman is taking Aphra's journey as she receives a pardon for her past crimes and partners with Luke Skywalker on missions for the New Republic. So Dr. Aphra was first captured our hearts when creators Kieran Gillian and Salvador LaRocca introduced her in the Darth Vader series, and her popularity exploded. And then she was given her standalone adventures and series. And then Chen is known for her character-driven storytelling and work on several Star Wars projects, while Guzman brings detailed, expressive art style that's perfectly suited for Aphra's adventures. And the first issue promises to tackle the questions: how will the formerly Imperial-aligned Aphra adjust to working with the good guys? So what rare artifact requires both her and Luke's force abilities? And what mysterious problem is affecting her tattoos? So Dr. Aphra Agent number 1 is going to feature covers by artists E.J. Sue, Sarah Pacelli, and Karen S. Darbo. And it hits shops June 18th.
Who's
Drew,
speaking?
yeah, Drew, what the hell are you doing?
Just keep talking.
I'm done talking.
Mhm.
Pretty covers. Who did them, Leo?
Actually, yeah, sorry, I said that already. EJ Sue, Sarah Pacelli, and
Oh,
Karen Darbo.
Nice.
I was
They're all
just giving
beautiful.
you something to say over Drew.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have said while I was flipping through them. I was too busy reading. My bad.
They are pretty. They are pretty nice covers there. You know what else are some pretty nice covers?
The Sixth Gun.
All right. So I mentioned it last week that there was going to be that there was something that didn't stick on Comic Beat. And it was a lot more of a story than I was expecting to get when I got back. And they actually finally put it up when it was supposed to be up. So on June 4th, Oni Press is going to be premiering The Sixth Gun Road to the Six, number 0. Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt are back again, bringing us more of their fan favorite fantasy western series. It has been 9 years since we've had any Sixth Gun, but none of us have ever stopped hoping that it's going to be brought back to this wonderful world of the gunslingers and the occult. This issue is going to start up about 30 years after we were last in the universe. The Sixth Gun has been reborn again. Some familiar faces are going to be waiting to fight back against a secret cabal who intend to gain control of the power of the Sixth Gun in order to rain down chaos, war, and genocide upon the world. Who will be the last group standing? Pick it up to find out. And per the creators, returning to the world of the Sixth Gun has felt like a homecoming. According to Brian Hurt, this series is such a monumental part of my life, and finding a way to spend more time playing in the sandbox that Cullen and I created has been an absolute joy. And I think our shared enthusiasm comes through in this series. I'm so excited to invite readers, new and old, back into this world with us. And then on over to Cullen. Sometimes the world just gets me down, like I'm not sure I have the physical or mental fortitude to soldier on. Then I realize there's a new 6-gun series on the way. With that knowledge, I can face the tempest. I can remember, as Drake Sinclair said, the apocalypse can't stop me. The main covers that we're going to have going, if we go back, start with Brian Hurt. He does both this and then a limited black and white version of the same one. There's also, that's the next one over. After that, we have Justin Greenwood. And lastly, there is Matt Kint. And also prepare for, this is the road to the 6th, but on July 24th, the 6th-gun Battle for the 6th, issue 1 is going to be hitting your shelves. So go ahead and just get those. I can guarantee you this is going to sell out.
Absolutely.
So go ahead and reserve your copies as soon as you can. Once again, the first issue year is going to be there on June 4th, and then July 24th, issue 1 of the new one is going to come out, or the next new one is going to come out. Get them. If you don't order them now, you're probably going to miss out. And I'm sure this is going to go into reprints. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
I was going to ask, are those the creatures from the Max?
The Isis? They do look like them, don't they?
They do. Yeah, I know it's not them,
They're,
but is
I have some figurines of those somewhere. Somewhere
nice.
in this place of mine. It's kind of organized, like the goblins' house in the labyrinth, but I do have some. All right.
I'm just going to keep
moving
shaking.
on. Drew's just like, no.
No,
really,
no,
no.
bro. Nah, bruh.
No.
Nah.
Bruh.
Nah, bruh.
You got none of that. No.
Nope, none of that. All right. Yes.
All right, what you got? There you go.
I got news. News for days. So for its 5th year, Marvel Comics is celebrating LGBTQIA creators and characters in June with the giant-sized Pride Anthology one-shot. So this year's edition, Marvel United, a Pride Special Issue 1, will feature 4 inspirational action-packed adventures with fan-favorite characters, including members of the Avengers, X-Men, and such. So what we have is from Al Ewing and acclaimed artist Zai Kama. See Aaron Fisher, Captain America of the Railways, bravely confront the inimical and despicable hate monger. Annie Roth fights alongside Captain America against Hydra during the height of World War II in a story about the past, which will reshape the future, from superstar team of behind Avengers Academy Infinity, writer Anthony Oliveira, and artist Pablo Collar, which is just arriving in time for Pride Month. Avengers Academy Assemble issue 1 will be collecting all 6 issues of Oliveira's Avengers Academy Infinity comic in print for the first time ever. Last year's Pride celebrated Mystique and Destiny's marriage. Now we're going to see a new chapter in their decade-spanning romance, touching on parenthood. And it co-stars their son, Nightcrawler, by author Wyatt Kennedy and artist Bailey Underwood in her Marvel Comics debut. And in another debut, writer Zoe Tunell teams up with rising star Federica Mancini for Black Cat Heist Gone Haywire as a super thief finds herself alongside heavenly hero Sarah in a dark battle against the fear-inducing demon Despair. And of course, there's going to be so much more, including interviews, insightful essays, and such. So all of this with also covers by Lucas Wernick, Jen Balzdua, Hernando Souza, Luciano Vecchio, and Ricky Igawa. All this on sale June 4th.
That final cover with by Ricky Igawa, I was looking at it, and for some reason, this went back to, I don't know if you've ever seen PG Psycho Gorman, but there's this thing where it's like, check out the Hunky Boys. I'm not sure if I like Hunky Boys. I might like the Hunky Boys. And I was just like, as soon as I was just like, that's a Hunky Boy cover. I don't know.
What, this one?
Like,
With
yes.
Akiro, aka Dakin, aka Wolverine's son.
Yeah, it's got the abs and the whole thing built, and I was like, that takes me back to the days of when they had the Hunky Boy poses, and
Get out
it
of here.
just, I know.
Get out of here with that. But I'm also
Great cover though.
I'm also laughing because I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly what I'm
Having
talking
seen
about.
Psycho Gorman. Yeah, so like I said, June 4th, everybody. So check it out. Leo,
Will be.
you're up next.
I am. So I don't know if you know this person, Kevin Smith. I hear he's a filmmaker, a podcaster, a comic writer. Of course,
Sounds like the kind of guy you definitely meet in a convenience store, clerking it.
Yeah. You ever been to the actual convenience store?
It's always been on my bucket list. I think me and my sister have been talking about it since we were young enough to appreciate Clerks and everything Kevin Smith ever did.
I went probably 5 or 6 years ago, and it's still exactly like the movie. Like, it's laid out exactly the same. It's awesome. And a matter of fact, at that time, it's been bought out since, but still the old video store was next to it. It was closed down, but there's still VHS tapes in the window.
Can you get to the roof? Like, could you and I go break some bones trying to get up there? And
you could try, but you probably will get arrested. But the sad reality is, if you get up there, you definitely don't get any free Gatorades.
Oh, I don't get down either, because I'd be like, well, fuck, I live here now, or else I'm going to injure myself incredibly.
All right. So what's up with Kevin Smith?
Yes. So, he's heading back to Marvel Comics this summer for a special one-shot. It's going to be giant size Amazing Spider-Man #1. It's going to feature multiple stories from top industry talent. So it's going to include Smith's Spider-Man and Fantastic Four team up with artist Giuseppe Camicoli. Yep. And Marvel teases the story. We will have your heart beating in overdrive and your sides hurting from how much you're laughing. So Kevin Smith, obviously, he's not new to writing Marvel. He's best known for writing the Guardian Daredevil story, which helped set the stage for the character's darker era. And later, that inspired writers like Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker. And then on the Spider-Man side, he also penned Spider-Man, Black Cat, Evil That Men Do. And the giant size Amazing Spider-Man #1 will include additional stories from other fan favorite creators. Al Ewing pairs with Mark Buckingham. And that's described as a decade-spanning adventure featuring Spider-Man and his closest friends. Is it Super Friends? No. And meanwhile, Amazing Friends. Yeah, but what was the dog's name?
No.
Okay. So Chip Zdarsky and artist K-Fu will introduce a mysterious new character who Marvel hints will become important in upcoming storylines. And no, it's not Spider-Boy. And Batman artist Greg Capullo provides the main cover for this oversized special. And it aims to showcase what Marvel storytelling special through the vision of some comics' biggest names. And giant size Amazing Spider-Man #1 planned to arrive in comic shops this summer. And we don't have an exact date released for the announcement yet, but we will keep you tuned.
Cool.
So that is can you pull it up real quick again?
Yeah.
That is the tamest I have ever seen Storm's hair ever. Like, it's just like, okay, we got this one little wave and it tapers off, and it's not like, usually her hair is like Batman's cape, it goes everywhere, or like Spawn or pieces of Venom that randomly go around. But it's just like, oh, fine, got this nice little wave done now. Cool.
She switched conditioner.
She must have. It looks, like, I'm like, hey, I wish I had that hair someday.
Nice.
That'd be nice.
We're over 2 hours. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Drew. Okay. Well,
I
moving
don't mean,
on.
I hate to be that
I
guy,
know.
but
No. Yes. We're chatty.
yep, no,
All right.
you're good. You're good. I just need to say I'm jealous you're covering this because I'm a kaiju fan, but because of who's writing it, I was like, okay, Carrie's got to cover this. So go, Carrie.
Yeah. All right. So tomorrow sees the first of the Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe books with Ryan North and John Romita Jr. setting up the Fantastic Four against Toho International's Godzilla. There are going to be six one-shot issues before the event is finished. And we're going to skip talking about all those and go straight to the end here. Landing in your LCS on July 2nd, Godzilla is the final issue. In the final issue of the event, Godzilla versus Thor. We got Jason Aaron and Aaron Cooter. They nabbed the giant monsters all-out attack version of everyone's favorite kaiju lizard to make it a truly worthy battle for a god to take on as he is forced to defend the realms in this sixth battle between the King of Monsters versus Marvel heroes. But wait, there's more. This time around, those wacky folks from over at the Hand have managed to give Godzilla the power of the beast. How will Thor overcome this to save Midgard? I'm betting with a whole lot of crackathoons. So, if we hop on over, we got the covers. Initially, we're going to have the Aaron Cooter cover. This one, I believe it. Oh, there's the Aaron Cooter. Next, we go on to Foil by Mark Begley.
Mm-hmm.
The next after that is I believe this is the Gavin Guidry King of Monsters cover.
Yes.
And then the Nick Bradshaw, this is a monster homage in his series that he's been doing of those. And then the last is my favorite of them all, the Walt Simonson.
Oh, wow.
I just think that looks badass as hell. So, I mean, maybe it's me, but damn.
No, they all look
dude can
pretty
still
good.
produce that, and that's gorgeous. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah. So get ready. We're not going to get rid of kaiju ever, and that's a good thing. But
Yes.
get ready to have more and more of it coming through your different comic book circulations because, I mean, he's not Marvel owned. He could fight anybody.
It's true.
Toho can send him to whoever they want. So next up, rather than
yes. Speaking of more kaiju.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just want to point out yet again, I care about both of you, so I gave you both the kaiju stories.
I appreciate that. You sure you don't want this one?
No, I'm fine. Just keep going.
Okay.
Yep.
So DC Comics and Legendary Comics have revealed exciting new details about their upcoming crossover sequel, Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong 2 Electric Boogaloo. So set to launch on June 4th, the 7-issue limited series comes from writer Brian Buccellato, and artist Christian Juche, and colorist Luis Guerrero. And I know I butchered those names, so I totally apologize.
Oh, yeah, you 100% did. Luis Guerrero.
Luis Guerrero.
Yeah. So Buccellato is
Are you sure you're good?
Buccellato.
Is known for his acclaim run on The Flash with Francis Manapul and his work on Batman The Dark Knight, while Deuce has impressed fans with his dynamic artwork on Justice League and Batman. So following last year's Monster Hero Showdown, the new story finds Amanda Waller and Task Force X developing hybrid titans as they control to prevent future attacks. So the Justice League must travel to the legendary Earth and brave the dangers of Hollow Earth to stop Waller's plans, putting them on a collision course with I can't speak tonight. With Kong and Godzilla and other MonsterVerse creatures. So the sequel introduces the exciting new element Titanized versions of DC characters and villains who will battle against Godzilla, Kong, and other monsters. And the series is going to bring back Colonel Lee Shaw, who first appeared in the 2014 graphic novel Godzilla Awakening, and also in the show. What was it called? I can't remember. But issue 1 features a main cover by Ducey and variant cover.
Starts with an M.
Ducey, D-U-C-E.
No. Are you talking about the Kaiju series, the Godzilla ones? Right?
Issue number 1 is main cover by series artist Ducey.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about that show. My bad. I'm sorry. I got hung up on the wrong detail. Continue. Sorry. Ignore me.
And it's going to be variant covers by including Dan Mora, Alan Qua, Gabriel Hardman, John Jiang, Kevin McGuire, Carlos D'Andra. And it's going to be available for pre-order at your LCS March 21st before hitting shelves on June 4th.
Nice.
And,
Very awesome.
We got a bunch of the covers here.
Yeah, I love that one.
It's
His
so
glowy.
I'm sorry. It's so easy to tell when it's a Dan Mora cover, like because they just like fucking shine, man.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and the internal artwork is awesome too.
Oh yeah. But look
do you want to go back? Oh, those teeth.
Yeah, look at that Titanized king shark.
Yeah, I was gonna say that is awesome.
Can you go back to the cover with Superman being like this big in front of his nostril? Like, because that was one that it's not necessarily my favorite, but it's just like one of those like proportionally think of it this way and just go, oh my.
Yep.
Well, kind of like the Thor one from the previous story. That first cover.
Yeah, I mean, we read through the Justice League and Godzilla and stuff, the first one, and it just didn't seem like it, it's hard to fit on the page, so it doesn't feel quite as overwhelming as it actually should be. But this was a great, like, just perspective cover to give you an idea of like, oh, okay, then.
Yep.
He's as big as his eyeball, maybe, probably not, but he could be a contact. I guess, if you wanted a Superman. Anyway, hi.
Yep.
You're in problems talking. I'm just drinking, so it works better that way.
The next one is you, Carrie.
Yes, it is, and it's a very exciting story. Jar Jar would like to know: are you going to the Hush 2 early release tonight? I am not, Jar.
Holy shit! I didn't even know there was an early release.
And apparently nobody else is either.
Enjoy, buddy.
So
I pre-ordered a bunch of the covers.
Nice. I forgot to. I'm probably gonna have to get a second printing. It's not the end of the world.
But, well, rather than doing that, what I did was I learned about Boom Studios bringing us a new horror series this June by Hello Darkness and Maw creator Jude Ellison S. Doyle, with art by Lissandro Estherin, who you might know from Redneck. In this American Gothic tale, Cora, an isolated farm girl, becomes impregnated by an angel and births a Nephilim of pure evil. Born basically as a toddler, he eventually can no longer hide behind his outwardly angelic appearance as horrible acts of nature begin to take place around him. And as he reaches adulthood, his mother is called upon by heaven to destroy her unnatural offspring. The covers that we had back there were by Reiko Murakami and Ariel Olivetti. There will be more to come, including Abigail J. Harding, Jaylee and June Chung, and Javier Pulido. This is going to be in stores on June 4th, and it just has this lovely, lovely American Gothic religious setting going on with it. I love this kind of stuff. It reminds me, the setting is similar to that in like Carnival. And And
Yeah.
that's something that I'm always going to be like, yeah, sign me up. Give me that. Give me that old American Gothic feel. A lot of times, most of the times in the South, this feels a little bit more like Plains area, which is where I'm from. So you get the corn, that's where you get all of that going on. It just looks gorgeous. So yeah, be looking forward to this. Once again on June 4th. Hit
Nice.
up Boom. Hit up your
Yep.
LCS. And finally, in news, we have one last thing. Then we're going to my crowdfunding stuff.
Leo, are you good with this, or do you want, or should I cover it? Whatever works. I
Fine.
don't care.
I got it. I got it. I got it.
Leo's got
You
his
can definitely tune in if I go awry.
Oh, I got you.
I know you do. I know you do. Okay, so I'm excited for this, and I wonder if DC's been listening to me complain about it for the
You
longest.
complain so much.
Oh yeah. But continuity it's a big thing for me. So the absolute legend Mark Waid, he's going to be tackling one of his most ambitious projects in DC history. He's going to be creating a definitive timeline for DC's complex multiverse in a new history of the DC universe. This is going to be a 4-issue series that aims to streamline nearly a century of storytelling, addressing the various reboots from Crisis on Infinite Earths through Doomsday Clock, and have reshaped DC's continuity over the decades. Not going to mention Alfred and stuff like that. But anyway, Mark Waid says, this is my dream project. It's a chance to realign all of DC's sprawling continuity into one master timeline, and to be joined by some of comics' greatest artists to make it shine. With new information for even longtime fans, plus Easter eggs galore, the series will be an essential read for DC fans. So the series, you're probably wondering how it's going to play out. It's going to follow the Flash, Barry Allen, as he travels from the dawn of the DC universe through the modern age, chronicling what truly counts in current continuity. Even veteran DC readers can expect surprises as Waid establishes the definitive canon. So art will be done by the amazing Jerry Ordway, who worked on the original Crisis of Infinite Earths, and Todd Nauck, known for his work on Superman, The Flash, Teen Titans. And so Nauck is saying, I'm having an absolute blast with this project. Mark has come up with something cool for me to draw on every page, and I'm learning new aspects of DC history I hadn't known before. And I've been reading DC Comics for decades. The first issue features a main cover by Chris Samney with variants by Dan Mora, Ryan Sook, Mike Cho, and the new history of the DC Universe launches in June with pre-orders available in late March. So definitely hit up your LCS because everybody's going to need to get this. I mean, this is going to be awesome.
It looks awesome.
Go back. You go back to that Art Germ cover.
Oh yeah.
I caught that hadn't been released earlier, but
wow, that's
fantastic.
gorgeous. All these covers are stunning.
Yeah, I was Scott Koblish, man. Like, is he working on a world record of how many people he can fit into a single comic?
Oh no,
because
look at that.
As I say, I don't know if you can zoom in and go around on that, Leo, with what I sent you, but just being able to see like how many of these people are there that I'm not.
My thing is, how do you fit them in? You know, like there's just so many. Like,
Yeah, he's just like, oh, I'll just put all these folks here.
Like I'm actually zooming in right now and looking, and I'm like, good Lord. There are
I didn't even try to break this one up because I was like, I have no good lines. It will be, I believe, a number of connecting covers that end up making this whole thing. But nowhere that I went showed it broken into pieces yet. So, but I mean, like, if you want an entire universe included in one cover, I believe Mr. Koblish is your man to get a hold of and just be like, hi, could you please draw 4,732 people? And he would just be like, why,
Sure.
yes.
Yes, I
Is
can.
there anything in particular you would like about them? What order? Because, I mean, who even are some of these people? You look at them, you're like, I don't know. What's that little guy over there? Who's the guy with the red cap and the
Leo,
striped
stop
shirt?
zooming in on it. I'm looking at the stuff.
I,
Sorry, Carrie.
I asked him to zoom in. But yeah, there's just all the characters from all the places. Everything. What was that movie? Everything Everywhere All at Once
Yes,
in the DC universe. Ta-da.
absolutely.
Publish delivers.
Seriously. Amazing. Amazing. All right. I think, Leo, I think that's the news. Unless, did you mention when this is coming out? Like,
Pre-orders come out. Let's see. Hold on.
well, I know it's available in June, but
Yeah, and pre-orders start end of this month.
crazy. All right. Well, I think that's all
Yeah.
the news. There's a bigger one than we're used to. So good job, everybody. Carrie, take us home. What should we be throwing money at these days?
All right. What we're gonna start throwing money at right now. Soon as we get it up there.
What order should it be in?
Sorry. I need
Amor, The Ink Runs Cold, or Whispers in the Dark?
This ink runs cold. That's what I need first. All right. So I was tipped off to this one by Dean Haspiel, who's going to be part of it. What we are getting with this ink runs cold is it's up on Kickstarter right now. It will be funded by Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. In 15 days, it has already been funded. It's being produced by Alan Spiegel Fine Arts. What you get here is going to be a 96-page hardcover comics anthology of one-page space and crime stories written by 89 separate writers and all drawn by Scott Morse. So back in 2024, Scott Morse decided to go ahead and offer some aspiring, never before published, first time writers a chance to collaborate in a sci fi or crime story that he would adapt into a one-page comic for an anthology. He had a huge response and chose 24 stories. Then he went ahead and talked to all of his buddies and grabbed a bunch of already established storytellers and some friends and turned it into a 96-page hardcover. The coloring that is done here is by Jose Villarrubia and a ton of award-winning contributors. If you look there, I mean, okay, you got Alan. We got but Alan Spiegel, Jose Villarrubia, Joe Carabao, Brian Michael Bendis. Just look through. There's a list. It's huge. I believe Scotty Young's in there somewhere. I said before, Dean is. There's just a ton of people who contributed to this. And it's all tied into what he decided to call the space crime continuum. These are a couple of examples of the one story short stories that he drew and then Jose filled in the colorings for. On these pages, you can find works by brand new creators as well as those who have received Oscars, Emmys, Eisners, BAFTAs, Caldecott Honors, Annies, Ignazis, and more. Rewards on here run from $15 PDF version up to $125, where you get both a full color and noir edition that are signed and numbered by Scott Morse. And there are a bunch of other things that you can get, including some original art options and rewards that go all the way up to $500 experiences. And those involve like having a one-on-one drawing session with Scott. He'll draw you a picture, you will get the picture, and you can sit and talk to him while he's doing it. And he'll give you some advice, chat with you about stuff. A lot of this has been sold out already. But the way they're doing their stretch rewards, slowly they'll be adding more experiences as the project goes on so that people who didn't get a chance to get in early, there's still something left for them to go. You can pick up all the extra editions of the book as an add-on as well if you want to get just like buy one and like, hey, I want the PDF, grab it in. So go to their site, visit it. It's a really simply put together site with a bunch of crazy, amazing stuff. Already with the stretch goals that they've hit, if you've pledged for the full color book for $40, or anything over 40, you're already going to get those stickers up there. Anything over 60, you're going to get some postcard sets that I didn't have a picture of to find for that. But yeah, it's already going. The book's going to be a 96 page, 9¼ by 12-inch Bande Dessinée style hardcover on 200-pound GSM wood-free paper with 3.5 millimeter textured covers. Morse used practical materials at every point of production using real pencils, erasers, India ink, water, brushes, and vellum bristle artboard. It was also hand lettered by brush and ink. So go check this out. It's beautiful. They've already got the stretch goals going. If you want some of these experiences, you can get them. A lot of stuff has been sold out, including what was an awesome looking shot glass, but you might be able to get them if you get the 2-in-1, or if they decide to release some more since it was such a popular item. But you have 15 days to go ahead and get that by April 9th at 10 p.m. Central. So go check that out. And that's the only brand new one that I'm going to say. I did want to show you guys, though. I forgot about this almost when we first started. I got in my reward for the Order of Dracula, the Death of Dracula. And all I bought here was simply the comic. I got a bunch of PDFs as well that came with it. And as I bought it in a combination with one of Aaron Roblowski's book, I'm going to get a dual print that they went together on. But I just want to show you the quality of art that is coming out of Heresy Studios for their Dracula series. Let me get this out here. It's an interesting size. Like, this is the size of the comic. But it's, I'm holding it up. It's all in black and white. The paper is really nice and smooth. It's not super heavy, but I love it. Like it's thick enough for me. The outside paper is very smooth and has this kind of like almost a matte gloss, if that makes any sense. But the artwork is great. The story is great. It's something that like I feel glad that I purchased it, and I'm looking forward to buying more from the series from Heresy Studios and checking out what they already have out in the Dracula line. So it's the Order of Dracula is the line of comics they have, and there tend to be a bunch of one-shots. So next, what we're going to go on to, if you can pull up for me, Leo, The Whispers in the Dark. This is what I already mentioned to you guys about last week. I wore this shirt, and this is the shirt that goes with it at Comic-Con KC when I was down there. It's very comfortable. I love it. It's nice and lightweight, but it like not cheaply made. This one it is ending in on the 31st, so it's ending in 6 days. They need a little bit of a boost, guys, if you could help them out. I've already gone over this with you before. Basically, there's a small town community where children are being let out of town, and the sheriff has to kind of stop and see what's going on. Is the whisperer real? Is it a myth? How are we going to justify and discover the missing people and the missing children that are being let out of town? On this one, it's very simple. It's a beautiful book. I have the first issue. It's amazing. The rewards range between $10 to $130. You can get digital, physical, catch up, couples, shirts, one of the OG comics, original Geek comics that they have, is t-shirts, or the very comics that go for Original Geek, which is the company that is putting this out. And you can also get a full page ad and producer credits for some of your little add-ons there. I love those shirts though, and then those are the Original Geek shirts. So check this out. It is a really good one. It's got 6 days left, and if you could help them out, it'd be great. You get a lot of stuff, and like I said, this is a beautiful book going in. And then next, Leo, if we want to go over, I know we're running short on time, so I'm trying to summarize things as well as I can here.
What's the next one? Amor?
Yep, Amor Patrice. So this one has 3 days left. I've mentioned this before as well, and I have read parts of it. Amor Patrice. This is up until March 28th at 6 p.m. Central. It is by Aaron Wroblewski, who we've had a couple things that we've done before with some of his Samurai Ice and Fire stuff. Ice and Fire. Anyway, his Samurai books. Sorry, Aaron. Trying to go into this one though. So basically, in this world, exorcisms are real. And in this one, a sheriff goes into a house where, I don't know, if an old farm where there's supposed to be a routine disturbance, but there's actually an exorcism going on. He has to go and look for a local priest for guidance. There's a lot of supernatural stuff going on here, and it's out in the country and sort of a like rural America sort of feel to it. It's a beautiful, wonderful book. Aaron is a great writer. What you're going to get here, you've seen the different comics. The reward tiers start at $7 for the digital and go up to $200 if you'd like to be in the story yourself. Basically, you can get any level of the comic as well as all of these different add-ons that they're throwing in. So you can pick and choose and kind of make what you want. Some things you can get combined already. Others, just go ahead, grab it as an add-on. And you can also get everything signed for an extra $5. So go grab, and the t-shirts for those are wonderful as well. But grab yourself some Aaron Wroblewski, and hopefully we'll have him on again sometime. These are some of the, if you get more backers, they will add extra PDFs that you get, and they are up to just needing 3 more people to get up to the 100th one. So if you can be those people, they would love to have you over. Go check it out. Once again, that is Amor Patrice, AMORPATRIS with a space in between, over on Kickstarter. And finally, Axel's Infernal. I'm going to keep pushing this, you guys, every week because Dan Chichester is amazing. He's going to be on here pretty soon. I love this comic book, and he's trying to get out issue 2 right now. Axel's Infernal, like I said, written by D.G. Chichester. The art here is by Carl Waller. And basically, Percy's back hanging out with the Underworld Transportation Authority, trying to get her deliveries done with her driver, Virgil. What you want to do now is sign up early to get notified when Axel's Infernal issue 2 is about ready to launch, because there are going to be some 48-hour early bird discounts on comics, stickers, behind-the-scenes scripts, and more. Hijacked into trucking for the UTA, Percy is delivering damnation across the dimensions, plagues, monstrosities, boiling pitch, the works. And what you get is Axel's Infernal number 2, a full-color 24-page comic book printed on 80-pound cover stock and 80-pound gloss text paper. It is the 2nd issue in a 5-issue miniseries, and every comic is individually bagged, boarded, and ships in a Gemini mailer. Those are the good mailers. All of you who are out there that get your comics in Gemini mailers know what I'm talking about. So sign up. Dana's going to be joining us very soon. And that is wrapping up. I'm kind of on a Zoom here tonight because we ran so late, but that wraps up Carrie's crowdfunding corner for the night.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, just a heads up, we are going to be taking next week off. So no guest announcement from Drew, so we can wrap things up. I want to yeah.
Oh, we aren't taking next week off. There will be a show. We just are not having a guest.
No.
No, we're taking next week off.
Oh, I thought we were doing.
No.
Never mind. I thought we were doing just a general, like, non-guest show.
No, we're just taking a day off, so none of us get burnt out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Leap day.
Yep. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. If you missed anything, just hit the rewind button. That's all you got to do. But definitely check out our YouTube page. We got a lot of, awesome content up there, trying to break up the shows. And there's also some special content. I just put up a Stan Lee little video today, and a bunch of other stuff. So check it out. And we'll kick it over to Carrie.
Hey, everybody. Yeah, so I thought we were doing a show next week because I was going to talk about like the different Comic-Con experiences that I had. I thought we were doing that. But I'll be putting in I'm going this weekend over to Tri-City Con to chat with some folks there and get a couple more cards out, and I will be putting up information about my experience at Planet Comic-Con KC that I was at this past weekend that nearly broke me just because of carrying everything. It was a great con. It was very fun. I was a little overwhelmed. If you want to reach me, look at Carrie Sanders over on Facebook.com. And if you see a judging crow, like just staring at you into your soul, that is me. All of my other links are there. You can find me on the Owlite Network as well as on here. And we do a bunch of shows about storytelling, some movie reviews over there. And I write things. You can read them if you find me and follow me. So, yeah. Other than that, I'm just drinking with my squirrel tonight, and we are having a good time.
Awesome. Drew, wake up.
I'm awake. I'm
Wake
here. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much
Ruthie,
for
wake
joining
up.
us. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I appreciate it very much. These are great people. We have a lot of great stuff. And although we're taking next week off, trust me, April is still going to be a great month. We have a lot of stellar guests, which I'm really excited to announce when they come up. But if you need to chat with me, you can find me on Facebook, Drew Malo, Ghost Whisperer 1984, on Instagram. I've been posting a lot on Blue Sky as well. And like I said, I'll get back to you if you hit me up. I'm so tired and exhausted and somewhere else. So, deuces.
Awesome. With that, we'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.